Chapter 33:19. Immediately, Lu Ming took out the primordial idol. The primordial idol that he had given to the Dark Ape Battle Tribe was obtained from the prodigy of the Nether Heavenly Palace. The one in his hand was his. However, he did not dare to put away the purple copper coffin for fear that the golden-haired man and the silver-haired man would return and attack him. Lu Ming would most likely die if he was attacked by such a powerful being. Therefore, he held the purple copper coffin in one hand and the primordial idol in the other. As soon as he took out the primordial idol, it emitted a faint glow. There are divine factors nearby. There are indeed a lot of divine factors on this continent. Lu Ming's eyes lit up with joy. Then, according to the primordial idol's reaction, he went in a certain direction. Soon, he found a small crimson hill. As soon as Lu Ming got close, the hill emitted a faint glow. Streaks of light flew toward the primordial idol. These were divine factors that were absorbed by the primordial idol. Lu Ming speculated that the hill might have been covered with the blood of the primordial idol a long time ago. That was why there were divine factors here. However, there was not a lot of divine factors on the hill. After a while, the primordial idol was completely absorbed. Let's find somewhere else. Lu Ming started to move. Soon, he found another place that contained divine factors. However, there was not a lot of them. After absorbing them, the primordial idol still had not been consecrated. Lu Ming continued to search. After a while, he found a valley where the primordial idol had a strong reaction. It meant that the divine factors here were extremely dense. However, there was a terrifying aura coming from the valley. There were many terrifying monsters living there. Lu Ming could feel that there were many peak Divine King-level monsters. Lu Ming sighed. He had a feeling that if the primordial idol absorbed the divine factors in the valley, it would be awakened. Unfortunately, the monsters inside were too strong. In the end, it could only retreat. For the rest of the day, Lu Ming found a few places that contained dense divine factors. Unfortunately, they were all inhabited by terrifying monsters that he could not deal with. Lu Ming could only find places with less God's spirit DNA to absorb. After all, even a little could make a lot. But on this day, Lu Ming's body suddenly stiffened, because he once again felt a terrifying killing intent enveloping him. Needless to say, Lu Ming knew that the golden-haired and silver-haired men had appeared. The other party had found him again. Damn it! Lu Ming roared in his heart. Why did those golden-haired and silver-haired men want to kill him? Why did they keep bothering him? He was speechless. Lu Ming put away the primordial deity statue and the purple copper coffins. He was on full alert. Whoosh! Whoosh! Not far away, 3 figures appeared. 1 golden-haired man and 2 silver-haired men. The 3 of them appeared not far from Lu Ming and stared at Lu Ming with murderous intents. Kill! Suddenly, the golden-haired man let out a low roar and took a step forward, charging at Lu Ming. The void trembled. The other 2 silver-haired men did the same, and their eyes were filled with madness. Lu Ming was shocked. Just as he was about to open the purple copper coffins, a terrifying whistling sound came from not far away. Then, a stone spear flew at a terrifying speed towards one of the silver-haired men. The silver-haired man let out a low roar and instantly slashed out dozens of sword lights, trying to block the stone spear. But the sword lights kept exploding when they collided, and the stone spear broke through the silver-haired man's head like a hot knife through butter. The silver-haired man was killed in an instant, and his corpse fell to the ground. So strong! Lu Ming was shocked. The stone spear killed the silver-haired man in one move. How terrifying! Lu Ming knew the silver-haired man's strength. Although he was also a peak Divine King, his combat strength was terrifying. He could deal with several experts of the Dark Ape fighting tribe at the same time. But now, he was killed in an instant. The remaining golden-haired and silver-haired men stopped and looked in a direction nervously. Rumble! There was a dull explosion in the air, and a figure flew over from that direction. It was a young man who looked to be in his 20s. He was burly and strong, and he wore a vest made of animal skin that revealed his brown skin. He was filled with explosive strength. The man was not particularly handsome, but he gave off a wild feeling. His eyes were filled with a powerful, domineering aura. He waved his hand, and the stone spear flew back into the young man's hand. Kill! The young man let out a low roar and took a step forward. The stone spear slashed towards the golden-haired and silver-haired men. Clang! The sound of swords rang through the sky. The golden-haired and silver-haired men also charged towards the young man, and the two sides engaged in a fierce battle. Who is this young man? Lu Ming was puzzled. The young man looked young, but his cultivation was ridiculously strong. He was also a peak divine king. The most terrifying thing about him was his combat strength. The golden-haired man's combat strength was already heaven-defying. He could kill peak divine kings of the same level as if he was cutting vegetables. But now, he was completely suppressed by the young man in animal skin. Boom! The young man's stone spear hit the golden-haired man's sword radiance. The golden-haired man's body shook violently, and he was sent flying. Then, the young man in animal skin swept his stone spear and destroyed the silver-haired man's sword radiance. The silver-haired man's body exploded into a cloud of blood mist. After killing the silver-haired man, the young man in animal skin continued to charge towards the golden-haired man. The golden-haired man's strength was outstanding, and his speed was shocking. However, he was still no match for the young man in animal skin. In just a few moves, he spat out a mouthful of blood and one of his arms exploded. In the end, the golden-haired man wanted to escape. He turned into a sword radiance, and was about to dash into the distance. However, the young man in animal skin opened his mouth and let out a long roar. He spat out a Milky Way from his mouth, and it shrouded the golden-haired man. He seemed to be greatly suppressed, and his speed was greatly reduced. Whoosh! The stone spear flew out and pierced through the golden-haired man, killing him. Lu Ming sucked in a breath of cold air. This youth in animal skin was really terrifying. This kind of combat strength was close to a divine lord realm powerhouse. A golden-haired man and two silver-haired men were killed in just a few moves. After killing the golden-haired man, the Milky Way and the stone spear disappeared at the same time. Is that an origin source secret skill? 2 origin source secret skills! Lu Ming was shocked. He would not be wrong. The stone spear and the Milky Way were both origin source secret skills of the young man in animal skin. It was Lu Ming's first time seeing someone else master 2 origin source secret skills. At this time, the young man in animal skin took a step forward and walked towards Lu Ming. In an instant, he was in front of Lu Ming. Lu Ming could not help but be shocked, and he kept retreating. Don't worry. I won't kill you. The young man in animal skin spoke. He seemed to be stuttering and his words were intermittent. However, Lu Ming understood him. Chapter 33:20. Who are you? Why did you save me? Lu Ming asked, staring at the young man in animal skin. He dared not let his guard down. The young man was too powerful. If he wanted to fight him, he would die. Who am I? The beast-skinned young man looked confused. All kinds of complicated emotions flashed through his eyes. Who am I? Who am I? I don't know who I am, the young man murmured. He looked even more confused. Lu Ming was confused. The young man didn't even know who he was. Did he lose his memory? After a while, the young man calmed down. He looked at Lu Ming and said, I don't know who I am, but I saved you because I can feel that you're from the same race as me and the heavenly humans are my enemies. After a while, the young man's speech became smoother and smoother. In the end, he almost stopped stuttering. I'm from the same race as you? And what's the heavenly human race? Lu Ming was even more confused. How could he be from the same race as the young man? Of course, I can feel it, the young man said. Then, his blood boiled and an ancient aura spread out. It was as if an ancient god had come back to life. This is the aura of an ancient god. Lu Ming's eyes widened. He could sense the primitive godly spirit aura emanating from the young man in animal skin. Lu Ming finally understood why the young man said that they were from the same race. Because Lu Ming had cultivated the heart of an ancient god and had the bloodline of an ancient god. To put it bluntly, an ancient god was also a member of the primitive gods. Therefore, Lu Ming and the man in animal skin were of the same race. What's the heavenly human race? Lu Ming asked again. There were countless races in the primitive universe, but Lu Ming had never heard of the heavenly human race. The heavenly human race is the enemy of my race. They want to kill me, so I'll kill them too. The young man's eyes were filled with killing intent. After a while, he looked at the copper coffin in Lu Ming's hand. The thing in your hand gives me a very familiar feeling. I feel like I've seen it before, but I can't remember. I really feel like I've seen it before. It's so familiar. What is it? The young man murmured to himself. He frowned more and more. In the end, he looked even more confused. Roar! Suddenly, the young man in animal skin roared like a wild beast. His face twisted and changed into all kinds of different expressions. Lu Ming was shocked. He asked, "What's wrong with you?" "I don't know. My head hurts. It seems like there are many kinds of memories and thoughts in it, but it's very messy." Saying this, the young man in beast skin roared again. He held his head and slammed it on the ground. At the same time, more questions popped up in his mind. The young man said that he had seen the copper coffin before? How could this be possible? Lu Ming was the one who brought the purple copper coffin out of the ancient god world. Logically speaking, the purple copper coffin had been in the ancient god world for countless years before Lu Ming brought it out. How could the young man in animal skin have seen it? Could it be that the young man was very old? However, after observing the young man's life aura, Lu Ming discovered that he was definitely not old. He was about the same age as him. In addition, the young man's current state was very strange. He felt that there were countless spiritual consciousnesses in the young man's sea of consciousness. Amazing, really amazing. Is it like this? Bone Demon kept muttering in the sea of consciousness. He seemed to have found something and was very surprised. Senior Bone Demon, what did you find? Lu Ming asked. I'm not sure. Go and ask him if he came from outside. Or was he born here? Bone Demon said. Lu Ming was a little surprised. He didn't know why Bone Demon asked this question. But Lu Ming still wanted to ask. After a while, the young man's state stabilized. Brother, are you feeling better? Lu Ming asked. Yes. Strange, I really feel that this thing is very familiar. The young man stared at the copper coffin again. Lu Ming hurriedly moved the purple copper coffin away in case the young man in animal skin flared up again. Brother, are you from the outside world or were you born in this world? Lu Ming asked. I was in this world when I woke up. I've never left. Is there a world outside? Is it very big? The young man asked curiously. Sure enough, my guess is right, Bone Demon said. Senior Bone Demon, what did you find? Lu Ming asked. This young man is very special. If I'm not wrong, he was born from the flesh and blood essence of the primordial divine spirit, Bone Demon said. What? Born from the flesh and blood essence of the primordial divine spirit? Lu Ming was shocked. Wasn't this the same as the monsters he had met? Kid, don't compare him to those monsters. The difference is too great. Not only was this young man born from the flesh and blood essence of the primitive gods, but he was also born from the flesh and blood essence of many primitive gods. After countless years of evolution, he became a brand new life. That's why his soul is filled with the consciousness of different primitive gods. When he saw something familiar, his consciousness was in a mess, which led to the situation just now. The creation of heaven and earth is really amazing. It's like giving birth to a new life out of thin air. A life that can cultivate, comprehend, and grow is completely different from those monsters. Bone Demon was also amazed. Lu Ming was dumbfounded. He could not believe that things would turn out this way. So, the copper coffin is related to the primordial divine spirit? Senior Bone Demon, do you know the origin of the copper coffin? Lu Ming's eyes lit up as he asked Bone Demon. The young man in animal skin was born from the flesh and blood essence of many primordial divine spirits. His soul contained the remnant consciousness of those primordial divine spirits. He felt that the copper coffin looked familiar. In fact, it was the primordial divine spirits who had seen the copper coffin. The copper coffin was obtained from the ancient god world. Obviously, it was related to the primordial divine spirits. I don't know. To be honest, I've seen or heard of many ancient things, but I've never seen or heard of this copper coffin. Bone Demon shook his head. Lu Ming was somewhat disappointed. He had not even seen a bone demon before. He did not know how ancient it was. By the way, Senior, have you heard of the heavenly human tribe? Lu Ming asked again. The young man in animal skin called the golden-haired man and the silver-haired man heavenly human tribe. He was curious. Heavenly human tribe? Hee, of course I know. How could I forget? Bone Demon sneered. Lu Ming heard the cold, murderous intent in Bone Demon's voice. Chapter 33:21. Bone Demon's tone was filled with murderous intent toward the heavenly human tribe. Lu Ming wondered if the heavenly human tribe had a grudge against Bone Demon. Have you heard of the heavenly palace? Bone Demon didn't answer directly. Instead, he asked a question. Of course, Lu Ming replied. Everyone knew about the heavenly palace. In this era, the heavenly palace era, the heavenly palace was the supreme ruler of the primitive universe. The Taishu dynasty was like an ant in the eyes of the heavenly palace. Even the top 10 tribes on the list of 10,000 tribes in the primitive universe couldn't compete with the heavenly palace. Autumn Moon received the inheritance of the Divine Eye Lord of Heaven. The Divine Eye Lord of Heaven was a giant from the heavenly palace. Could it be that the heavenly human tribe was related to the heavenly palace? Lu Ming could not help pondering. The heavenly palace was built by the heavenly human tribe. The heavenly human tribe is the ruler of the heavenly palace, Bone Demon said. Lu Ming was shocked. The heavenly human tribe was the ruler of the heavenly palace. Their strength was absolutely terrifying. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to call them the most powerful tribe in the primitive universe. Could it be that those people are from the heavenly palace? Lu Ming said with a serious face. If the heavenly human tribe wanted to kill him, it meant that the heavenly palace wanted to kill him. If he offended the heavenly palace, wouldn't it be a dead end? Those people can be said to be from the heavenly palace, but not all of them are from the heavenly palace. Bone Demon's explanation made Lu Ming even more confused. What did it mean? Countless years ago, the heavenly human tribe and the primitive divine spirits had a terrifying battle. This broken universe was the battlefield between the heavenly human tribe and the primitive divine spirits. A large number of primitive divine spirits died here. Of course, a large number of heavenly human tribe members also died. The flesh and blood essence of the primitive divine spirits who died in the battle evolved into the young man in animal skin. The flesh and blood essence of the heavenly human tribe who died in the battle evolved into the people you have seen before. But obviously, the evolution was not perfect. They did not have any spiritual intelligence, only an instinct to hunt down the primitive divine spirits. You have the heart of the ancient god and the bloodline of the ancient deities. You are the descendants of the primitive deities. So, you don't have to worry about the people from the heavenly palace with the heavenly palace. Now, the heavenly palace now. Of deities. With the heavenly palace deities. Bone Demon explained in detail. Lu Ming heaved a sigh of relief. It turned out that the heavenly human tribe's flesh and blood essence evolved from the heavenly human tribe's experts. Their evolution was incomplete, and they didn't have any intelligence. They were far inferior to the young man in animal skin. Only the instincts of the heavenly human tribe's experts were left. They were completely different from the heavenly palace's thoughts. Although he was bold, he would be courting death if he faced the heavenly human tribe with his strength. Of course, he was worried. Lu Ming finally figured out the gist of the matter. Can I follow you? The young man in animal skin circled Lu Ming a few times. Of course, He was more focused on the purple copper coffin because he felt close to the purple copper coffin. Even Lu Ming made him feel close to the purple copper coffin. He didn't want to leave. You want to follow me? Lu Ming was taken aback. Take him away. Lu Ming, you have to take him away. This lad has at least dozens of primitive god spirit bloodlines. He has perfectly evolved and has endless potential. When he grows up, he will definitely be terrifying. He will be a good helper for you, Gu Mo said hurriedly. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat, but he didn't show it on his face. He looked at the young man in animal skin and said, You can follow me, but you have to listen to me in the future. Okay, I'll listen to you. The young man in animal skin nodded excitedly. The young man in animal skin was very naive. He was like a teenager who hadn't matured yet. By the way, do you have any companions? Lu Ming asked. The young man in animal skin was so powerful and had endless potential. However, he was not very intelligent. If there were a few more of them, Lu Ming would be rich. No, when I woke up, I was alone. The young man in animal skin shook his head. Lu Ming was a little disappointed. Then he asked, What's your name? Name? I don't have a name, the young man in animal skin said. Lu Ming touched his nose. That was right. The young man in animal skin had been alone when he woke up. He didn't have any companions, so he wouldn't have a name unless he gave himself a name. Then I'll give you a name. How about Wanshin? It's formed by the essence of thousands of primitive divine spirits, Lu Ming said. Although his ability to come up with names was truly terrible, he was fond of this path and would often be pleased with himself. Okay, I'll be called Wanshin. I have a name. The young man in animal skin should be overjoyed. Immediately, Lu Ming asked about the heavenly human race. According to Wanshin, he was often hunted by the heavenly human race after he woke up. He also knew that they were from the heavenly human race from a few fragments of memory in his soul. Like him, the heavenly human race was also born in this world. The two sides fought and both sides were injured. I'm going to kill all the heavenly human race. Wanshin's eyes flashed with killing intent. He had also inherited the instinct of the primitive divine spirits. He wanted to kill the heavenly human race when he saw them. How many heavenly human race members are there? Lu Ming asked. I've killed many over the years, but now there are 6 golden-haired ones and 15 silver-haired ones left. However, I killed another golden-haired one and 2 silver-haired ones earlier, Wanshin explained. Lu Ming was secretly shocked. It seemed that those who had dealt with him previously were not all. There were only 3 golden-haired ones and 9 silver-haired ones. In addition to the 3 killed by Wanshin, there were 4 golden-haired ones and 13 silver-haired ones left. How about this? Wanshin, you hide. I'll attract the heavenly human race members while you kill them. What do you think? Lu Ming said. If the heavenly human race members were not killed, he would not be at ease. He did not know when he would be ambushed. He had to get rid of this disaster completely. Okay. Wanshin naturally agreed happily. Then, they began to move and change to another place. Lu Ming found a place to sit cross-legged. Wanshin hid not far away from him, and concealed his aura. Lu Ming carefully sensed for a while, and could not sense Wanshin's aura at all. It was as if the place was empty. Let's go all out. Lu Ming took a deep breath and then put the purple copper coffin into the Jinyu painting. Then, he activated the ancient god's heart. The ancient god's heart thumped, and the ancient god's aura spread far and wide. Lu Ming pulled himself together and focused. He spread out his spiritual consciousness and paid attention to every movement around him. Although Wanshin was next to him, he did not dare to be careless. He knew very well how terrifying the heavenly human race was. If he was not careful, he would die. Chapter 33-22. Lu Ming waited quietly for the arrival of the heavenly human race. In the blink of an eye, 2 hours passed. Swoosh! Suddenly, a dazzling sword light flashed and pierced towards Lu Ming from afar. It illuminated the starry sky and was extremely terrifying. The heavenly human race had made their move. The sword light was too fast, so fast that Lu Ming could not react in time. However, someone was faster than the sword light, and that was the Wanshan. A stone spear pierced through the void and flew out, colliding with the sword light and destroying it. Almost at the same time, the Wanshan's figure appeared in the sky. He opened his mouth and let out a long roar. A long river rushed forward and enveloped a silver-haired man. The silver-haired man screamed and his body exploded in the long river. Kill! The Wanshan held the stone spear in his hand and swept across the starry sky. The stone spear turned into a huge spear, and when it swept across the starry sky, a huge explosion occurred. The next moment, the sword light surged. In an instant, more than 10 sword lights burst out and slashed towards the Wanshan's stone spear. Boom, boom, boom! Terrifying explosions sounded continuously. The stone spear trembled and was pushed back. Then, figures appeared in the void. They were all from the heavenly human race. There were 3 golden-haired men and 10 silver-haired men. There were a total of 13 of them. The number was more than what Lu Ming and the others had faced previously. Obviously, the number of people gathered was even greater. At this moment, Lu Ming had already taken out the purple copper coffin and retreated quickly. He was ready to open the copper coffin. There are so many of them. Can the Wanshan fight against them? Lu Ming immediately became nervous. So many heavenly human race members were extremely terrifying. Could the Wanshan fight against them? Lu Ming was ready. If the Wanshan could not win, he would take the risk to open the purple copper coffin and scare the heavenly human race away. Kill! However, the Wanshan was extremely powerful. He roared and his battle spirit soared into the sky. He held the stone spear in his hand and pierced through the void. The stone spear pierced through the void and charged towards a silver-haired man. Clang! Clang! The sound of swords rang out continuously. The 3 golden-haired men and the 10 silver-haired men moved at the same time. The terrifying sword light seemed to split the continent under their feet. Clang, clang, clang. Both sides continued to exchange blows, exchanging hundreds of blows in an instant. The stone spear in Myriad God's hand kept trembling. Finally, it produced cracking sounds as cracks appeared on its surface. Not good! Lu Ming's expression changed. This stone spear was the Myriad God's quintessence secret technique. Now that it had cracked, the Myriad God's combat strength would be greatly affected. Bam! Just as Lu Ming thought of this, Myriad God's stone spear exploded and dissipated into energy. Not good! Lu Ming was greatly alarmed. He was just about to rush over and risk opening the purple copper coffin to scare away the celestial race. However, at this moment, the Myriad God roared angrily. Terrifying fluctuations emanated from his body. Extremely dense divine power erupted like a volcano. Following that, a large bell condensed on his body. It was made of stone and enveloped him. Those sword lights slashed on the big bell, causing a violent roar, but they did not break the big bell's defense. Another origin secret technique! Lu Ming was tongue-tied. This was already the 3rd origin secret technique that the Myriad God had used. However, in the next moment, Lu Ming's eyes nearly popped out of their sockets. His mouth opened so wide that it could fit a duck egg. Boom! Divine power boiled on the Myriad God's body. Then, a stone saber condensed and slashed at a silver-haired man with a shocking saber light. Following that, a stone sword flew out and attacked a golden-haired man. This was not the end. Then, an ancient stone door exuding a vast aura suppressed the golden-haired man. The Gate of Domination. This was the Gate of Domination. It was exactly the same as Lu Ming's Gate of Domination. Then, a vortex appeared, erupting with a terrifying devouring power that enveloped the 2 silver-haired men. A stone pagoda appeared, an ancient volcano. Origin secret techniques. All of them were origin secret techniques. Lu Ming stared blankly at the Myriad God's various origin secret techniques. At a rough glance, there were more than a dozen of them, A single person could control more than a dozen origin secret techniques. What was going on? Lu Ming was completely dumbfounded. Moreover, the myriad god's divine power was unimaginably vast. It was also filled with an ancient aura. Lu Ming had no idea how many times the myriad god's divine power had awakened. Boom! 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 More than a dozen origin secret techniques rained down. In an instant, the 7 silver-haired men of 9 Nether exploded and died on the spot. The remaining 3 silver-haired men were also heavily injured and vomited blood. The 3 golden-haired men fared better. They managed to block the attacks and were only pushed back. Kill! The myriad god launched a second wave of attacks. More than a dozen origin secret techniques rained down on the remaining celestials. The 3 silver-haired men were directly killed, not even leaving behind ashes. As for the 3 golden-haired men, they vomited blood and retreated. They were heavily injured. One of the golden-haired men was even cleaved in half by a stone sword and almost died. Then, the myriad god launched a third wave of attacks. More than a dozen origin secret techniques rained down on the 3 golden-haired men. The attacks were like an ocean, a torrential downpour. Boom! Boom! The 3 golden-haired men resisted with all their might, but they were completely suppressed and forced to retreat. They wanted to charge out of the encirclement, but they were surrounded by origin secret techniques. Their path of retreat was blocked off. Pun! After a few moves, the golden-haired man who had been cleaved in half was suppressed by an ancient door. His body exploded into a bloody mist. The remaining 2 golden-haired men were no match for the myriad god and were completely suppressed. This battle did not last long. The 2 golden-haired men were also killed by the myriad god. With that, the 3 golden-haired men and the 10 silver-haired men were completely wiped out. For a long time, Lu Ming was still unable to react. He was stunned by the myriad god's strength. The golden-haired and silver-haired men's combat strength was absolutely terrifying. It was extremely easy for them to kill peak godly kings of the same level. Only extremely powerful geniuses would be able to fight against the heavenly human tribe when they were at the same level. However, the 3 golden-haired men and the 10 silver-haired men were completely wiped out by the myriad god. They could not even escape. The myriad god's combat strength was probably enough to kill the typical godly lord. That was what Lu Ming thought. Godly lords were much stronger than godly kings. It was very difficult for the average person to fight across levels. However, the myriad god was just too terrifying. He was more terrifying than any genius Lu Ming had ever seen. Not only could he fight across levels, but he could also kill enemies across levels. More than a dozen origin secret techniques rained down from the sky. Who could withstand them? Kid, this is normal. He is formed from the flesh and blood essence of countless primordial figures. Who knows how much potential he contains? His potential is probably still far from being unearthed. A miracle. It's truly a miracle. There have been countless wars in history, and how many experts have died. But to be able to give birth to such a perfect life form is simply a miracle. It can't be replicated. Bone Demon exclaimed repeatedly. Chapter 33-23. In the long history of the primitive universe, there had been countless wars and countless experts had died in battle. The flesh and blood left behind by these experts would evolve into all kinds of living beings. However, most of them would evolve into the unintelligent monsters that Lu Ming had encountered before. Although they were powerful, their potential was limited. The stronger ones would evolve into the golden-haired man and silver-haired man, which was already incredible. It was a miracle that they could evolve into Wanshin. Even though Gu Emo was experienced and knowledgeable, this was his first time encountering such a thing. At this moment, Wanshin put away all the origin secret techniques and flew to Lu Ming's side. His face was not red, and he was not out of breath. This was something that even Lu Ming was envious of. Using so many origin secret techniques at the same time, an ordinary person would have been drained dry. However, Wanshin seemed to be fine, which made Lu Ming extremely envious. Wanshin, When you go out with me in the future, you have to keep a low profile. Don't use so many origin secret techniques at once. Then, Lu Ming warned him seriously. Using more than 10 origin secret techniques at once was too crazy. If he was outside, he would definitely be studied like a monster. Not to mention more than 10, Lu Ming did not dare to use 5 at the moment. Otherwise, he would also be captured and studied like a monster. Okay. Wan Shen scratched his head. Although it was a little strange, he would do whatever Lu Ming said. Then, Lu Ming discussed with Wan Shen and decided to continue attracting the remaining heavenly humans. There was still a golden-haired man and 3 silver-haired men left. If he did not get rid of all of them, it would not be safe. The heavenly humans like to appear in a mountain range on the right. Let's go there and attract, Wan Shen said. Then, the 2 of them went to the right. Soon, they saw a huge mountain range. This mountain range emitted extremely terrifying waves of energy. When Lu Ming arrived, he felt a powerful pressure that was like the might of the heavens. Gu Mo guessed that powerful heavenly humans might have died in this mountain range. The pressure of the heavenly humans would not dissipate for billions of years. Therefore, the evolved heavenly humans like to roam around here. After the myriad godhood, Lu Ming sat cross-legged nearby and put away the purple copper coffin. Sure enough, it wasn't long before the heavenly human tribe launched an attack. This time, a golden-haired man and 3 silver-haired men all came out. As soon as the celestial race appeared, the myriad gods attacked. 1 golden-haired man and 3 silver-haired men were not a match for myriad god at all. They were easily crushed and quickly killed. Amazing! Lu Ming could not help but sigh. The celestial race, who had caused them so much trouble, was of little use in the hands of the myriad gods. In the past, the reason why the myriad gods had not eliminated the celestial race was because when the myriad gods had awakened, they were still weak. They were far from being as strong as they were now. Facing the celestial race, they were destined to be defeated. Later on, as he grew stronger, the celestial tribe no longer dared to take the initiative to attack the myriad gods. Thus, the 2 sides continued to be entangled. Now that the celestial race had been lured over by Lu Ming, the myriad gods had seized the opportunity to kill them. After killing all the celestial race, Lu Ming relaxed and put away the purple copper coffin. In the future, he would not have to carry the purple copper coffin every day. After killing the celestial race, Lu Ming took out the primordial idol again and began to find a place to absorb the god factor. Not long after, they came to a mountain range. This mountain range contained rich god factor, but there were many powerful monsters living here. However, with a great expert like the myriad gods here, all problems were not a problem. The myriad gods had wiped out all the monsters in this place. The strength of 1 person was much stronger than 36 Dark Ape Battle Tribe members. Lu Ming calmly allowed the primordial idol to absorb the god factor. The mountain range resonated with the primordial idol, forming ribbons of light that flew toward the primordial idol and were absorbed by the primordial idol. The primordial idol shone and accumulated more and more god factor. After half a day, the god factor that flew out of the mountain range became fewer and fainter. At this time, the primordial idol suddenly emitted a powerful fluctuation. This fluctuation was extremely mysterious. Shrouded by this fluctuation, Lu Ming's soul seemed to have entered a state of emptiness. He seemed to see the primordial idol roaring and cultivating. This allowed him to comprehend the various divine powers several times faster. Success! The consecration is successful! Lu Ming was overjoyed. He knew that the primordial idol had finally been consecrated. Now that he cultivated under the primordial idol and bathed in the mysterious fluctuation of the primordial idol, the speed of comprehending the god factor of origin or secret arts of origin would be several times faster. However, the effect was still many times worse than the effect in the Pantheon Garden. This was because the primordial idol had absorbed very little god factor. After the primordial idol was consecrated, it did not stop absorbing god factor. On the contrary, consecration was only the first step. After consecration, it could continue to absorb god factor. The more God factor it absorbed, the better the effect of the primordial idol. Lu Ming planned to continue absorbing God factor on this continent. Brother Lu, do you still need this God factor? At this moment, the myriad gods spoke. Lu Ming was the one who asked him to call him Brother Lu. Based on the time that the myriad god had awakened, he was indeed younger than Lu Ming. Do you know where it is? Lu Ming asked. I know. Near the place where I awakened, there is a place with a large amount of God factor. The myriad gods said. A large amount? A lot? How is it compared to here? Lu Ming asked. Probably tens of thousands of times more than here. I'm not too sure about the specifics. The myriad god muttered. Tens of thousands of times? Lu Ming's eyes widened as his heart raced. Go quickly. If you say you want to snatch it from me, I'll fight you. Then, Lu Ming roared in excitement. Following that, Lu Ming followed the myriad god and headed towards the core of the continent. About half a day later, they arrived at a huge open space. This open space was filled with all kinds of hills and strange grasses. Lu Ming took out the primordial idol. The primordial idol immediately emitted a dazzling radiance. Then, ribbons of light appeared in the open space. Countless ribbons of light converged toward the primordial idol and entered it. God factor, all of it was God factor. It was so rich that it exceeded Lu Ming's imagination. It was probably even richer than what the myriad god had described. I'm rich. After absorbing so much God factor, what level will my primordial idol reach? Lu Ming was extremely excited. The primordial idol was extremely important. The stronger the effect, the more he could cultivate in the primordial idol and increase his comprehension speed. His friends and family could do the same. In a minor kiliocosm, the effect was equivalent to the Enlightenment ancient tree or even greater. Chapter 33-24. Another reason was to use the primordial deity statue as the foundation after establishing a clan. The better the effect of the primordial deity statue, the more experts it could attract. If those experts wanted to join and work for you, there had to be something that attracted them, such as secret techniques and treasures, or powerful strength that could protect others. However, what could be more attractive than increasing one's strength? For example, some heavenly kings or marquee palaces could attract a large number of experts to join because of a good primordial deity statue. For example, the divine statue garden of the Great Void Imperial Academy was a place that ordinary people could not enter to cultivate. If one wanted to cultivate there, the foundation was to become a student of the Great Void Imperial Academy. Moreover, one had to fight in the Purgatory arena to earn Purgatory points before they could cultivate. Not everyone could be like Lu Ming and Autumn Moon, who spent their days in the divine statue garden. Therefore, it was obvious how useful a good primordial deity statue was. Whoosh! Countless God factors gathered toward the primordial deity statue. The primordial deity statue was shrouded in a mysterious light. Lu Ming was delighted to see this. Absorbing God factors like this felt great. What was the point of absorbing God factors like before? Gu Mo also sighed. He guessed that this area was probably the place where the primordial deity statue was buried. Otherwise, there would not be such a high concentration of God factors. After all, it had been too long since the battle between the heavenly human tribe and the primordial deity statue. After such a long time, even a powerful being like the primordial deity statue would lose a lot of God factors after death. As time passed, the God factors would become fainter and fainter. One day, there would be no more God factors in this world. By the way, Wanshan, where did you wake up? Lu Ming's heart stirred as he asked. Lu Ming was very curious about what kind of land of creation it was to be able to nurture an existence like the myriad god. It's not far away. I'll take you there. It might be useful to you, Wanshan said. Then, he leaped forward. Lu Ming followed. He left the primordial deity statue there and let it absorb God factors on its own. In fact, it was not far. They arrived in a short while. It's there. Wanshan pointed ahead. Lu Ming looked over. There was a small lake in front of him. Calling it a lake was a bit of an exaggeration. It was more like a pond, about 100 meters in length and width. As soon as he arrived, Lu Ming could feel a terrifying aura approaching him. This aura was primordial and ancient, lofty and invincible. It was as if the most ancient and powerful existence in the universe was sitting there cross-legged. Under the pressure of this aura, Lu Ming almost knelt down. His entire body was in intense pain, and he felt like his body was about to split apart. Dong dong dong, Lu Ming's ancient god's heart could not help but beat like a big drum. Roar! Lu Ming could not help but let out a low growl. He did not use the ancient god tactics, but his body changed involuntarily. He swelled up rapidly and turned into a green-armored ancient god. After he transformed into the green-armored ancient god, the oppressive force outside instantly disappeared. Instead of feeling uncomfortable, Lu Ming felt a sense of familiarity. This is the flesh and blood essence of the primordial divine spirit. My God, there is still so much left! Gu Mo exclaimed. This is the flesh and blood essence left behind by the primordial divine spirit. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. The so-called flesh and blood essence of the primordial divine spirit no longer existed. It had melted away, leaving behind only the purest essence. This was definitely a supreme treasure, especially for someone like Lu Ming who cultivated the ancient god body. Lu Ming's eyes suddenly lit up. If he could absorb and refine the flesh and blood essence of the primordial divine spirit, his ancient god body would definitely improve. Wan Shen, don't you need these? Lu Ming asked. I don't need them. If I want to improve, I have to rely on cultivation. Wan Shen shook his head. All right, I will go cultivate. You protect me, Lu Ming said. All right, don't worry. Wan Shen nodded. Lu Ming did not hesitate. He stepped forward and stepped into the pond. This pond contained the flesh and blood essence of the primordial divine spirit, and contained the terrifying killing intent of the primordial divine spirit. If anyone else had entered, they would have been killed instantly. However, Lu Ming had the ancient god bloodline, the ancient god heart, and cultivated the ancient god body. This killing intent was not targeted at him. Lu Ming sat cross-legged in the pond and circulated the ancient god body. Immediately, the liquid in the pond turned into surging energy that rushed into Lu Ming's body. The moment this energy entered Lu Ming's body, it rushed toward the ancient god heart. Thump thump thump, the ancient god heart began to beat violently. Lu Ming circulated the ancient god tactic and began to refine the energy. Soon, the energy overflowed from the ancient god heart and turned into Lu Ming's blood essence. It seeped into every part of Lu Ming's body and into every cell. Lu Ming could clearly feel that his body was transforming. The process of transforming in the direction of becoming stronger was very carefree. Lu Ming was engrossed in this process and focused on cultivating. Unknowingly, a few months had passed. A portion of the liquid in the pond had already disappeared. At this time, Lu Ming's body had finally transformed to the extreme. Roar! Lu Ming could not help but let out a low growl. His body began to make crackling sounds. Then, his body actually became bigger again and swelled crazily. Originally, he was only 200 to 300 meters tall. Now, he was rapidly growing. 400 meters, 500 meters, 600 meters. Finally, he stopped growing when he was 1,000 meters tall. At this time, the color of Lu Ming's scales changed from green to blue. Blue-armored ancient god. Lu Ming's ancient god body, which had been stagnant for a long time, finally transformed into a blue-armored ancient god. What powerful energy! Lu Ming felt that his body was filled with violent energy. It was as though he had really become an ancient god, a primordial divine spirit. Every move of his was filled with violent energy. Amazing! The higher the level of the ancient god body, the harder it is to upgrade it. However, with every upgrade, the increase in strength will also increase by a large margin. Lu Ming was very satisfied. He felt that the blue-armored ancient god body was several times more effective than the green-armored ancient god body. If Lu Ming had previously wanted to kill an ordinary 8th layer King God Realm expert, it would be a piece of cake for him now that Lu Ming had transformed into a blue-armored ancient god. He could easily kill an 8th layer King God Realm expert. Continue. Lu Ming continued to operate the ancient god tactics to absorb the liquid. He was only a new blue-armored ancient god. There was still a long way to go before he could transform into a purple-armored ancient god. There was still some liquid left. After absorbing it, the process would be greatly shortened. Perhaps, it could even help Lu Ming break through and become a purple-armored ancient god. At this time, a violent roar came from afar. There was sword energy rushing into the sky, divine light surging, and the roar of monsters. Chapter 33:25. A great battle broke out in the distance. Divine light surged. Lu Ming was alarmed. He looked into the distance and saw figures flashing in the void. They were fighting fiercely with the monsters. The others are here! Lu Ming frowned. If the others found this place, Lu Ming would not be able to cultivate as much as he wanted. He would not be able to let the primordial god statue absorb the god factor. Wanshan, can you drive them away? Lu Ming asked Wanshan telepathically. Leave it to me. Do you want to kill them or drive them away? Wanshan asked. Just drive them away, Lu Ming said. After all, apart from Wu Fan, Chu Chikong, and Lu Quan, the rest of the people who came in this time did not have any feud with him. Lu Ming naturally would not kill all of them. All right, I'll take care of them soon. Wanshan nodded. His figure flashed, and he left the place. Not long after, a stone spear pierced through the sky. It exploded with violent energy waves and was accompanied by angry roars. However, the commotion did not last long before it quieted down. Not long after, Wanshan appeared not far away in a flash. I drove them away, Wanshan said. All right. Lu Ming smiled. He was not surprised. With Wanshan's strength, it was easy for him to kill the heavenly human tribe experts, let alone ordinary peak divine kings. It did not matter if there were more of them. Lu Ming continued to cultivate. Wanshan stood guard for Lu Ming. If anything happened, he could deal with it easily. A year passed just like that. Lu Ming had completely absorbed and refined the liquid in the pond. His ancient god's heart was filled with exuberant life force, beating non-stop like the beating of a divine drum. Unfortunately, his ancient god body did not evolve again. It was still the blue-armored ancient god body. However, Lu Ming had a feeling that he had reached the peak of the blue-armored ancient god body. He was not far away from evolving into the purple-armored ancient god body. Not only that, during the evolution of his ancient god body, Lu Ming's cultivation base also increased. During this time, Lu Ming's cultivation base had broken through one more level. He had reached the 5th sky of King God Realm. Lu Ming had just broken through to the 4th tier of the King God Realm. It was incredible that he had broken through to the next tier. Phew, Lu Ming exhaled and ended his cultivation. With my current strength, if I go all out, can I fight with a peak divine king? Lu Ming smiled and clenched his fist, feeling the powerful force. Of course, Lu Ming was referring to ordinary peak divine kings. If it was a peak divine king like the celestial race, he would definitely not be a match. I wonder how the primordial idol is doing with the absorption. With a thought, Lu Ming flew towards the primordial statue. Not long after, Lu Ming arrived at the place where the primordial idol was placed. After more than a year of absorbing God essence, the primordial idol was covered with a layer of mysterious light. It was more dazzling and the fluctuation was more intense. However, there was still an endless amount of God essence flying towards the primordial idol. The amount of God essence in this area was shocking, as if it was endless. Anyway, it's still early. I should continue to absorb it. Lu Ming thought for a while. Then, he came to the primordial idol and sat down cross-legged. He started to comprehend the origin God essence. Instantly, he fell into a wonderful state. It was as if he saw countless primordial God essences fighting fiercely. Different kinds of God essences were surging. Lu Ming found the corresponding god essences easily. The effect is so good. Lu Ming was overjoyed. He found that the effect of cultivating under this primordial idol was comparable to the other idols in the Garden of Gods. Although it was not as good as the best idols in the Garden of Gods, it was not too far off. And this was only the effect of absorbing for more than a year. There was still time. Lu Ming could stay for another 7 or 8 years. By then, how amazing would the effect of the primordial idol be? Lu Ming was looking forward to it. Next, Lu Ming cultivated in peace and waited for time to pass. Time flew by. 1 year, 2 years. As time passed, as the primordial idol absorbed more god essence, the mysteries it revealed became more shocking. Every time Lu Ming closed his eyes to cultivate, it was as if there was a primordial god sitting beside him. Lu Ming bathed in the vast primordial god essence. His understanding of various god essences became deeper and deeper. Soon, more than 7 years had passed. At this time, the mysteries of the primordial idol had reached an astonishing level. It had completely surpassed any idol in the Garden of Gods, and not just by a little bit. In the future, Lu Ming did not need to cultivate in the Garden of Gods anymore. He could cultivate under his own primordial idol, and the effects were many times better than in the Garden of Gods. I'm going out. I can't bear to part with it. Lu Ming sighed. After absorbing for so long, he still hadn't finished absorbing all the gods' spiritual factors in this territory. There was still a lot left. Lu Ming regretted giving the small primordial idol to the Dark Ape Battle Tribe. Otherwise, he could have taken it here to absorb it. But no matter how reluctant he was, Lu Ming had to leave. He had been here for more than 9 years. A total of 10 years. He had less than a year left. It would take a long time to return to where they came from. He had to leave plenty of time. With a wave of his hand, Lu Ming put the primordial idol into the Jingyu scroll. Myriad gods, let's go out, Lu Ming said. Okay. Myriad gods nodded repeatedly, looking excited and expectant. Since he woke up, he had stayed in this place. In his soul, there was some incomplete information. He knew that the outside world was vast, and he had been looking forward to it. Unfortunately, he could not get out. Now that he could get out, he was naturally looking forward to it. Immediately, Lu Ming brought myriad gods and flew in the direction he came from. After flying for a while, Lu Ming nodded and saw a group of people in the distance. The leader was a young man, and he was Di Jiani. Obviously, Di Jiani had brought experts to this continent to search for God essence. They were among the group of people that I chased away back then. Myriad gods muttered. Lu Ming smiled. Di Jiani was impressive. But when he encountered myriad gods, he could only be chased away. At this moment, Di Jiani also noticed Lu Ming. When he saw myriad gods beside Lu Ming, his eyes were filled with shock and fear. Lu Ming smiled faintly. He did not stop and continued to fly forward. Soon, they were about to reach the edge of the continent. Someone's here! All of a sudden, the myriad gods spoke and stopped. At the same time, Lu Ming was alarmed. He sensed a sense of danger coming from all directions. He could not help but stop in his tracks. Who is it? Lu Ming shouted coldly as he looked around. Lu Ming, I did not expect you to discover us. A sneer was heard. Then, in a flash, a group of people appeared and surrounded Lu Ming and myriad gods. Wu Fan! Lu Ming's lips curled into a cold smile. Chapter 33-26. Lu Ming had not expected to meet Wu Fan at the edge of the mainland. Lu Ming looked around and realized that Wu Fan had not lost any of his men. There were still 36 of them. Just the 2 of you. Lu Ming, it seems like you have lost all your men. Ha! Now let's see how you will die. Wu Fan laughed and revealed a cold killing intent. He looked as though he was sure that Lu Ming would die. Wanshan, were they not among the men you chased away? Lu Ming ignored Wu Fan and sent a message to Wanshan. They were not among us, Wanshan replied. Lu Ming nodded. If Wu Fan and his men were among the men that Wan Shen had chased away, Wu Fan would not be so arrogant when he saw Lu Ming with Wan Shen. He looked as though he was sure that he would defeat Lu Ming. Seeing that Lu Ming had ignored him, Wu Fan's face turned ferocious and his killing intent intensified. "Brat, you still dare to be arrogant in front of me. I will make you die a horrible death. No, I will not let you die so easily. I will make you wish that you were dead." Wu Fan roared like a wild beast. "Is that so? I would like to see how you are going to make me wish that I was dead." Lu Ming smiled faintly and stepped forward, walking toward Wu Fan. Wu Fan was shocked and retreated. At the same time, he roared, "Attack! Cripple this bastard! Brat, kneel down and apologize to young master." A middle-aged man stepped out from behind Wu Fan and the aura of a peak divine king exploded. The violent aura pressed down on Lu Ming like a mountain and wanted to force Lu Ming to kneel down. However, Lu Ming's body shook slightly and blocked the pressure. The middle-aged man was shocked. He had not expected Lu Ming to be able to block his pressure. He was furious and slapped down on Lu Ming. He shouted, "Kneel down!" A huge palm pressed down on Lu Ming's head. Swoosh! Behind Lu Ming, a stone spear stabbed out towards the palm. With a poochie sound, the palm was directly pierced through, and blood flowed out. "Ah!" The middle-aged man let out a blood-curdling scream and retreated. However, the stone spear was even faster. It caught up to the middle-aged man in an instant. The middle-aged man let out a furious roar and tried his best to block it. However, it was useless. His defense was penetrated. Then, his head was also pierced by the stone spear. The middle-aged man, a peak divine king, was killed in an instant. Wu Fan and the others were stunned as they stared blankly at Wan Shen. That was a peak divine king, yet he was killed so easily. Who was the myriad god? Damn it! Let's attack together and kill these two bastards! After being stunned for a while, Wu Fan finally reacted and let out a wolf-like howl. Boom boom boom, Wu Fan's subordinates erupted like volcanoes, bursting with powerful auras. At the same time, they attacked. All sorts of attacks were launched at Lu Ming and Myriad God. An ancient and desolate aura erupted from Wan Shen's body. Then, a stone bell appeared, enveloping him and Lu Ming within it. The attacks from all directions landed on the stone bell. However, only clanging sounds could be heard. They did not break through the stone bell's defense. "Kill!" Then Wan Shen shouted. He opened his mouth and a silver river rushed out. 2 experts were enveloped by the silver river. They screamed as their bodies melted in the silver river. At the same time, Wan Shen held the long spear in his hand and charged out. The long spear swept out and the tip of the spear broke through the opponent's attack, cutting off the head of a peak divine king. The moment he attacked, he killed 3 peak divine king realm experts. After killing 3 people, Wan Shen did not stop moving. He continued to attack and killed his way into the crowd. Like a tiger entering a pack of wolves, the battle was completely one-sided. Screams could be heard as people were killed at every moment. In less than a minute, more than a dozen of the 36 peak divine king realm experts were killed. Not far away, Wu Fan's body was trembling. His face was pale and there was no trace of blood. Fear, endless fear. He was shrouded in endless fear. Those were peak divine kings. However, in the hands of Wan Shen, they were as weak as little chicks. He was not the only one. The remaining people were also terrified. "Young master, let's go!" An old man turned and ran. He wanted to escape with Wu Fan. "Wan Shen, don't leave a single one alive! Kill them all! Don't let them escape!" Lu Ming shouted. "Understood. Kill!" Wan Shen shouted. His aura became even more violent. Stone sabers, stone swords, stone pagodas, etc. appeared around him. They were all secret techniques of origin. Wu Fan and the remaining people were almost scared to death. All of them were secret techniques of origin. There were more than a dozen of them. This was too terrifying. It was beyond their knowledge. What kind of monster had they encountered? Swoosh! 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 All kinds of secret techniques of origin shot out. In an instant, 7 to 8 experts were killed. Run! The remaining people were almost scared to death. They could not care less about Wu Fan and fled in all directions. All of you stay here! Wanshan shouted and chased after the other party. A pair of wings appeared behind Wanshan's back. With a flap, his speed increased tremendously. In an instant, he caught up with an expert. With a swing of his stone saber, he killed the expert. Then, with a flap of his wings, he chased after the next person. This was also a secret technique of origin. Lu Ming had not seen it before. How many secret techniques of origin has this guy mastered? Lu Ming was envious. What was a monster? What was a monster? Lu Ming had always been regarded as a monster. However, he now felt that Wanshan was the real monster. He had mastered so many secret techniques of origin. There were offensive, defensive, and speed types. He had everything. There was no weakness. Soon, the second expert was caught and killed by Wanshan. Wanshan continued to chase after the next expert. At this moment, an old man was carrying Wu Fan and running in a direction. Wanshan, leave that guy to me! Lu Ming transmitted a message to Wanshan. He wanted him to chase after the others and leave Wu Fan to him. Then, he used the 9 Heavens Kunping technique and chased after Wu Fan. With Lu Ming's current cultivation, using the 9 Heavens Kunping technique with all his might, his speed was not any slower than an ordinary peak divine king. He followed closely behind Wu Fan. The old man carried Wu Fan and flew out of the continent. They flew into the starry sky and did not dare to stop for a moment. Lu Ming chased after them. Their speed was too shocking. Soon, they had crossed a distance of tens of billions of miles and leaped over many broken planets. This brat dares to chase after us alone. Stop and kill him! Wu Fan roared. His face was ferocious. He hated Lu Ming to the core. Now that he saw Lu Ming chasing after them alone while Wanshan chased after the others, his killing intent surged. He wanted to kill Lu Ming. The old man's eyes flickered and he stopped with Wu Fan. Go and kill him! Wu Fan pointed at Lu Ming and roared. Chapter 33-27. The old man beside Wu Fan was also a peak supreme god. In his opinion, killing Lu Ming was as easy as lifting a finger. It would not take much time. Kill! The old man did not hesitate and charged towards Lu Ming. His palm was like a knife as it slashed towards Lu Ming. He had used all his strength to kill Lu Ming in an instant. The strength of Wanshan terrified him. He had to kill Lu Ming in the shortest time possible and escape with Wu Fan. As long as they escaped, they could report this matter to the Grand Tutor. Lu Ming had killed so many people from the Grand Tutor's residence. They could easily find a reason to convict Lu Ming and let Lu Ming die without a burial place. Rumble! The old man's palms slashed down, and the void exploded. The violent force pressed down on Lu Ming. Peak Supreme God! I want to see how strong you are! Lu Ming shouted. In an instant, he activated the battle character art to increase his combat strength by 4 times. He circulated all the divine power in his body and displayed the heavenly demon golden body. He threw a punch at the old man's palm. How dare you fight me head-on? You are overestimating yourself! The old man sneered. Lu Ming was a junior who had just joined the Great Void Imperial Family Saint Academy. Yet he dared to fight him head-on instead of retreating. In his opinion, Lu Ming was an idiot and he was courting death. He wanted to use this move to smash Lu Ming into pieces. Boom! Finally, the 2 attacks collided and there was a terrifying explosion. The void shook violently and shockwaves spread out in all directions. Then, the old man and Lu Ming's bodies shook violently and they retreated. The difference was that the old man only retreated 3 steps while Lu Ming retreated more than 10 steps. Although the old man retreated even less, his heart was in a perilous situation at that moment. You! The old man stared at Lu Ming in disbelief. Just now, he had felt that Lu Ming's punch contained an incomparably terrifying power. That punch had actually forced him back. As for Lu Ming, he was only pushed back a dozen steps and was completely fine. How was this possible? He was a peak divine king, while Lu Ming was merely a new student who had just joined the Great Void Imperial Academy. Yet, Lu Ming was actually able to resist him. If he had not experienced it personally, he would not have believed it. "What are you doing? Why aren't you killing him? What are you doing here?" Behind him, Wu Fan roared. He was incomparably irritable. He thought that the old man didn't use much strength, which was why he didn't kill Lu Ming. What time was it now? It was a matter of life and death. What if that terrifying young man from before came chasing after them? At this time, the old man was still dilly-dallying. He wanted nothing more than to kick the old man in the face. The old man grumbled in his heart, but it was impossible for him to back down now. "Kill!" The old man roared and pushed his strength to the extreme. He displayed a terrifying secret skill and charged towards Lu Ming. Ancient God Tactic. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He displayed the Ancient God Tactic. His body swelled rapidly and turned into a blue-armored ancient god. He was 1,000 meters tall. This is a blue-armored ancient god. Wu Fan saw it and almost bit his tongue. He was trembling in fear. Lu Ming had actually cultivated the ancient god tactic to the blue-armored level. He had never heard of this before. After turning into a blue-armored ancient god, Lu Ming grabbed the void. The overbearing god's spear appeared and was caught in his hand. The overbearing god's spear vibrated and was incomparably huge. It whipped towards the old man, causing the void to explode continuously. Boom! The two sides collided again. This time, both of them retreated. However, the distance between them was about the same. How is this possible? The old man was extremely shocked. Previously, it could be said that he had not used all of his strength. However, now that he had used all of his strength, not only did he not gain the upper hand, but they were also on par. He did not want to fight anymore. He wanted to retreat and escape with Wu Fan. However, Lu Ming would not give him the chance. Yin-Yang God Eye. Lu Ming shouted and displayed his Yin-Yang God Eye. His eyes turned into two different colored vortexes. Terrifying runes appeared in the void. They were like silk threads that wrapped around the old man. The old man's face changed. His body glowed and a few sacred weapons flew out. Under his control, they attacked with all their might. However, those silk threads were formed by the Yin-Yang God Eye runes. They were extremely tough and could not be broken. At the same time, Lu Ming waved the overbearing god's spear and controlled the gate of domination to attack the old man. Boom! Boom! The two of them fought fiercely, and in the blink of an eye, they had exchanged more than 10 blows. At this moment, Wu Fan finally realized that something was wrong. How was it that the old man was not using all of his strength? It was obvious that Lu Ming was too strong and the old man was evenly matched. How is this possible? How is this possible? Impossible. Wu Fan shook his head. He could not accept it. Lu Ming could actually fight a peak divine king. During the Taishu dynasty, although Lu Ming was strong, he was not much stronger than him. However, now, he could probably kill him with a flip of his hand. This despicable piece of trash, how is this possible? Wu Fan kept growling. He was so jealous that he was going crazy. In his opinion, Lu Ming did not have any powerful backing and was of humble origin. However, he had the Imperial Preceptor and the Imperial Preceptor's residence behind him. He had plenty of resources and could get anything he wanted. However, in terms of cultivation and combat strength, he could not compare to Lu Ming. Why was he not the one who had improved so quickly? However, he immediately shuddered. The old man could not kill Lu Ming. When that terrifying existence arrived, he would be dead meat. Thinking of this, he could no longer care about the old man. He turned and ran. However, just as Wu Fan turned, a figure appeared behind him. It was Wan Shen. Ah! Seeing Wan Shen, Wu Fan screamed in fright. He instinctively attacked Wan Xin. However, he was slapped in the face by Wan Xin. He only regained his senses after a long while. Let me go. I am the son of the Imperial Preceptor. My father is the current Imperial Preceptor. If you let me go, I can give you anything. I can even let you have a meteoric rise. You can get whatever you want. Why do you have to follow that Lu Ming? Wu Fan shouted. He wanted to bribe Wan Xin. However, what he received was another slap from Wan Xin. This time, Wan Xin used more force. Wan Xin screamed in pain. He was severely injured and was half dead. Wan Xin held him in his hand. Lu Ming and the old man were still fighting. They had already exchanged more than 100 moves. Awesome! This is awesome! The strength of a peak divine king is indeed powerful! Lu Ming felt extremely carefree. His various attacks became smoother and smoother. Gradually, he began to gain the upper hand. As for the old man, he became more and more alarmed. When he saw Wan Xin appear, he panicked. You have lost your fighting spirit. What's the use of keeping you alive? I'll send you on your way, Lu Ming said coldly. Boom! The aura in his body surged again. The battle formula had quintupled his combat power. Now, the probability of Lu Ming activating the battle formula was about 1 in 10. During the previous battle, Lu Ming had been trying to activate it. Now, he had finally succeeded. Chapter 33-28. After activating the battle character art, Lu Ming's combat strength had increased by a notch. Boom! The overbearing god's spear flew across the sky and clashed with the old man. The old man was sent flying back as his body trembled and blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. His eyes were filled with shock and disbelief. In the previous battle, Lu Ming did not use his full strength, and even hid his strength. What kind of monster was he? Run! The old man did not dare to continue the battle and wanted to run away. However, there were runes formed by the yin-yang god eye that wrapped around him. These runes had terrifying power. If he was an 8th realm divine king, he would have been shredded into pieces by the runes. The divine force around the old man's body trembled and was almost cut apart. You won't be able to escape today. Die, Lu Ming said coldly. The divine force in his body surged into Lu Ming's body. Buzz! Buzz! A sun and a moon appeared above Lu Ming's head. The sun and moon pressed down on the old man. At the same time, the sovereign's gate came crashing down. Lu Ming wielded the overbearing god's spear and executed the god of war strike. Origin secret technique. The old man let out a desperate and incredulous roar as he tried his best to resist. However, his fate was sealed. Boom! Boom! After a series of explosions, the old man coughed out blood as he was sent flying. He was severely injured. Sizzle! The runes formed by the yin-yang god eye wrapped around the old man. The old man was severely injured and could not resist the attack. He was shredded into pieces by the runes and died on the spot. Lu Ming had single-handedly killed a peak divine king. Although it was just an ordinary peak divine king, it was enough to prove Lu Ming's strength. One should know that a peak divine king in the 9 extinction Heavenly King Mansion was equivalent to the Jin family and the Qin family. They were overlords. However, Lu Ming had already grown to such a level. Origin secret technique. So many origin secret techniques. Wu Fan was almost scared to death. His eyes were wide open as he stared at Lu Ming. At this moment, Lu Ming put away all of his origin secret techniques. His body shrank and returned to his normal state. He felt limited and exhausted. The myriad gods are still the best. Lu Ming could not help but think. Myriad God had used so many origin secret techniques, but he remained unperturbed. And if not for the help of the quantifying character formula, he would not have been able to do it at all. Whoosh! Lu Ming took a step forward and arrived beside Wan Xin. Cold killing intent enveloped Wu Fan. Now let's see who will kill who. Lu Ming looked at Wu Fan coldly. Lu Ming, you dare to kill me? My father is the state preceptor. If you kill me and my father finds out, you will be dead. Everyone related to you will die. Wu Fan roared angrily as he glared coldly at Lu Ming. Even now, he was still threatening Lu Ming. Lu Ming was so angry that he laughed. Now you are the only one left. I don't dare to kill you. If I kill you, who will know? Lu Ming said indifferently. Humph, I'll tell you the truth. My father knows that I'm going to kill you this time. If I die and you don't, my father will definitely suspect that you did it. He'll capture you and search your soul. When the time comes, the truth will be revealed. Wu Fan continued to threaten. Lu Ming was slightly stunned. This was indeed as Wu Fan had said. The state preceptor definitely knew that Wu Fan wanted to kill Lu Ming. If Wu Fan died here, the state preceptor would definitely suspect that Lu Ming did it. With the state preceptor's tyranny, what could he not do? However, to let Wu Fan go just like that? Impossible. He had already offended Wu Fan and killed so many experts from the state preceptor's residence. Even if he let Wu Fan go, the state preceptor and the state preceptor's residence would not let him go. Since that was the case, why not kill him? Seeing that Lu Ming was hesitating, Wu Fan thought that Lu Ming was afraid and did not dare to kill him. A smug sneer appeared on his face as he said, Lu Ming, your talent is very good and you are very strong. You are much stronger than those useless subordinates of mine. As long as you pledge your allegiance to me, swear that you will work for me in the future, and give me your treasures, I can let this matter rest and let bygones be bygones. Lu Ming almost laughed. How could this guy be so stupid? His IQ was too low. Did he really think that he could scare him with just a few words? Not only did he ask Lu Ming to submit to him, but he also coveted Lu Ming's treasures and opportunities. He was really stupid. Sorry, but I have a strong point. I don't believe in evil. I want to see how your father will deal with me after I kill you. Lu Ming sneered. His cold killing intent was extremely dense. A long spear appeared in his hand. No. At this moment, Wu Fan's face changed drastically. He could clearly feel Lu Ming's killing intent. It was not just for show. He really wanted to kill him. He panicked. He was afraid. He was terrified. He could no longer stay calm. Don't kill me. Don't kill me. I can give you anything you want. Power, beauties, treasures, cultivation techniques, divine crystals. I can give you anything. Don't. Wu Fan screamed hysterically. However, before he could finish his words, Lu Ming's long spear had already pierced out. Poochie! Wu Fan's head was pierced through. His soul was destroyed and he died on the spot. Everything you said, I will rely on myself to get it, Lu Ming said in a low voice. He then kept Wu Fan's storage ring. Wanshen, have you killed all those people? Lu Ming asked. Not a single one was left alive, Wanshen said. Good. Let's go and collect their storage rings, Lu Ming said. Then, Lu Ming burned Wu Fan's body to ashes. He collected the storage rings of the 30 experts from the Imperial Tutor's residence. As for the corpses, he also burned them to ashes. To be honest, he could not let the Imperial Tutor know about this. Otherwise, the Imperial Tutor would definitely go crazy. After making sure that there were no loopholes, they left the place. After flying far away, Lu Ming took out Wu Fan's storage ring and frowned. With a final wave of his hand, he threw Wu Fan's storage ring away. This was Wu Fan's storage ring. Who knew if the Imperial Tutor could sense it through some means? It was too dangerous to carry it around. As for the storage rings of the 36 experts from the Imperial Tutor's residence, Lu Ming transferred the treasures into his own storage ring. As for the empty storage rings, he threw them away as well. After settling everything, Lu Ming led Wanshen to the place where he had agreed to meet with the Dark Ape fighting tribe. After some time, Lu Ming arrived at the place where he had agreed to meet with the Dark Ape fighting tribe. From afar, Lu Ming saw the Dark Ape fighting tribe. Combat Ancestor! The Dark Ape fighting tribe also saw Lu Ming. When they saw that Lu Ming was fine, they were overjoyed and relaxed. When Lu Ming left alone to lure the golden-haired and silver-haired men away, they were very worried. During this period, they blamed themselves for not protecting Lu Ming. If something happened to Lu Ming, they would not be able to answer to Yuan Huan and Yuan Kong. "I'm fine," Lu Ming smiled. "This is..." The Dark Ape Fighting Tribe looked at Wan Qun. "He is a new friend of mine," Lu Ming said casually. Chapter 33-29. Lu Ming did not go into detail about the origin of the myriad gods. After all, it was too shocking. If it was exposed, it would cause a huge uproar. It was better to keep it a secret for now. Seeing that Lu Ming did not go into detail, the Dark Ape Battle Tribe naturally did not probe further. "By the way, has your primordial deity statue been consecrated?" Lu Ming asked. "Yes, please take a look at it." An elderly Dark Ape Battle Tribe member took out the primordial deity statue that was 100 feet tall. Lu Ming immediately felt a mysterious fluctuation. Lu Ming knew that the primordial deity statue had indeed been consecrated. Judging from the fluctuation, it was probably not just consecrated. After the consecration, it had at least absorbed a lot of God factor. Clearly, the Dark Ape Battle Tribe had not been idle all these years. "All right, let's go out now." Lu Ming put away the primordial deity statue and headed to the place where they had entered. They had left the coordinates there. All they had to do was follow the coordinates. In the blink of an eye, 2 days had passed. On this day, they were flying when they encountered a group of people. "Lu Quan!" Lu Ming's eyes flashed with murderous intent. The group of people in front of him was Lu Quan and another prodigy from the Crown Prince's residence. "Lu Ming!" Lu Quan and the others saw Lu Ming from afar and their murderous intent was apparent. However, when they saw that Lu Ming had so many people with him, their expressions turned grave and they did not dare to attack. He had seen the combat strength of the Dark Ape Battle Tribe. They were extremely strong. There were only about 30 of them in total. There was no way they could kill Lu Ming and the others. If they fought, both sides would suffer. Let's let him go for now. When we get out, we'll see how he dies." "That's right. When we report this to the Crown Prince, there are 100 ways to kill him," Lu Quan and the other young man discussed in secret. Then, they retreated and flew into the distance. Lu Ming's eyes twitched, but he did not chase after them. If he wanted to make a move, he had to kill all of them. Otherwise, it would be very troublesome. And this time, the other party had chosen to retreat from a distance. Even if Lu Ming wanted to give chase, he couldn't kill all of them, so he might as well let them go. The rest of the journey was very smooth. They didn't stop, and they didn't look for the divine essence either. They hurried on with all their might, and their speed was extremely fast. When they returned to the place where they had prepared the coordinates, there were still a few months before the 10-year deadline. They waited quietly. A few months passed in the blink of an eye. Suddenly, a powerful force enveloped them and they disappeared from this place. In the next moment, they returned to the place where they came from. Lu Ming's gaze swept across the area, and he saw several figures appearing at the side. He saw Di Jiani, Su Wuya, Qian Xingxian, and the others appear with their subordinates. These people all suffered losses. Some lost 2 or 3 people, while others lost 7 or 8 people. Lu Ming even saw a young man with only 10 or so people standing next to him. It was obvious that he had encountered a crisis and suffered heavy losses. Of course, Lu Quan and the other supreme talent under the Crown Prince had also suffered heavy losses. At this time, the others also noticed Lu Quan and the young man, and they were all shocked. Lu Quan and Mu Yuan actually suffered such heavy losses. The experts they brought were all the Crown Prince's elites. Not only were they peak divine kings, but they were also experts among peak divine kings. The 2 of them actually lost more than half of their forces. Who has the strength to kill them? They probably encountered a divine Lord Realm monster. That's the only possibility. Some people were discussing, thinking that Lu Quan and Mu Yuan were unlucky to have encountered a divine Lord Realm monster. That was why they suffered such heavy losses. However, no one looked at Wan Qun. This was because before they came out, Lu Ming had given Wanshan a set of black robes so that he wouldn't be recognized. After all, Wanshan had shown his terrifying strength when he chased some people away, and it wouldn't be good if he was recognized. Immediately, a few elders led Lu Ming and the others away from the entrance of the broken universe. After leaving this place, Lu Ming led the members of the Nether Ape fighting tribe back to the courtyard where Lan Shaun was staying. He also got Wanshan to settle down there. After that, Lu Ming returned to the Great Void Imperial Academy. "Let's go and report to the Crown Prince." Lu Quan and Mu Yuan led their men back to the Crown Prince's residence. Not long after, in a large hall in the Crown Prince's residence, Lu Quan and Mu Yuan knelt in fear. The Crown Prince sat above them. At this time, the Crown Prince's body emitted a terrifying aura that suppressed Lu Quan and Mu Yuan until they couldn't breathe. "Two pieces of trash!" After a while, the Crown Prince spoke, his voice cold. Lu Quan and Mu Yuan both shuddered and broke out in cold sweat. They didn't dare to speak. "Lu Ming, how dare you touch my people?" "Very well, I will kill you with my own hands," the Crown Prince said ferociously. He suddenly stood up and was about to charge into the Great Void Imperial Academy to kill Lu Ming with his own hands. "Crown Prince, you can't!" At this time, an elder stepped forward and bowed. The Crown Prince's eyes flashed as he looked at the elder. The elder's name was Han Fingye. He was powerful and resourceful. "Crown Prince, Lu Ming is just a new student of the Great Void Imperial Academy. If the Crown Prince kills him personally, it will damage the Crown Prince's reputation. If the second prince uses this opportunity to accuse you of abusing your power and killing the innocent, it will be bad," Han Fingye said. The Crown Prince frowned slightly. He knew that Han Fingye was right. As the Crown Prince, if he personally dealt with a junior, it would cause gossip, especially from the second prince. In the Taishu dynasty, the only one who could go against the Crown Prince was the second prince. In the eyes of the people of the Taishu dynasty, the second prince was superior to the Crown Prince in terms of talent and intelligence. Therefore, the second prince had gathered a large number of powerful subordinates. Even the Crown Prince had to be careful. "What you said makes sense. How about this, Han Fingye? You go and bring Lu Ming here and execute him." The Crown Prince waved his hand casually as if he had sentenced Lu Ming to death. "Yes." Han Fingye accepted the order and then looked at Lu Quan and Mu Yuan. "You two come with me." "Yes, yes." Lu Quan and Mu Yuan heaved a sigh of relief and quickly followed Han Fingye. Lu Ming returned to the Great Void Imperial Academy and sought Xiu Yu. When Xiu Yu saw that Lu Ming was fine, she was naturally as happy as a little bird. The two of them cuddled for a while and then discussed their plans to leave the Great Void Imperial Academy and find Blue Merchant to discuss the establishment of a family. Boom! At this time, a terrifying aura came from outside. A huge pressure like a mountain pressed down on the palace where Lu Ming and the others were staying. Rumble! Their palace began to shake violently. Powerful runes appeared all around the palace, forming a light shield that enveloped the palace. Chapter 3330. Lu Ming and Chiu Autumn Moon were in the top 10 during the Taishu Imperial Court's opening ceremony. The palace they lived in was of the highest quality, and was protected by a powerful formation. Now that it was under pressure, the formation automatically defended itself. "Who's there?" Lu Ming and Chiu Autumn Moon's expressions changed. This was the Taishu Imperial Court. Who would be so bold as to attack them in their palace? "Lu Ming, get out here!" A loud shout was heard. "Lu Quan!" Lu Ming could tell that it was Lu Quan's voice. "It seems like the Crown Prince's people are here to punish us." Lu Ming's eyes flickered. The pressure was too strong. It was definitely not from Lu Quan. It should be another expert from the Crown Prince's residence. At this moment, the commotion had alerted the other students. Many of them flew out of their residences and looked in the direction of the commotion, curious expressions on their faces. "What a terrifying expert! Who is that? How dare he act so arrogantly here?" Some students looked at Lu Quan, Mu Yuan, and Han Fengyi with curiosity. That aura was naturally emitted by Han Fengyi. It was as deep as the sea, terrifying to the extreme. That's someone from the Crown Prince's residence. And that old man seems to be the Crown Prince's confidant. No wonder the elders of the Taishu Imperial Court disappeared. They didn't make a move. Many people were discussing. The Crown Prince's power was not to be underestimated. The current Sage Emperor had ruled the Taishu dynasty for countless years. It was said that the Sage Emperor's lifespan was running out. Once the Sage Emperor fell, the Crown Prince would inherit the throne. This showed how powerful his power was. Let's go out and take a look. Lu Ming and Xiao Autumn Moon left the palace, but they did not leave the protection of the formation. The formation was like a sphere, enveloping the palace. As soon as they went out, they saw Lu Quan, Mu Yuan, and Han Fengyi. Lu Ming, you're finally out. Lu Quan revealed a murderous intent when he saw Lu Ming. Lu Quan, why did you come here and disturb my cultivation? Lu Ming asked. Lu Ming, come with me to the Crown Prince's residence. Cold Breeze Knight said. So you're going to the Crown Prince's residence? I'm sorry, but I'm going into seclusion to cultivate. I'm afraid I won't be free for a while. Lu Ming smiled faintly. No time? Lu Ming, the Crown Prince wants to see you. Lu Quan stared at Lu Ming. The Crown Prince wants to see me? What is it? Just say it, Lu Ming said. If he went to the Crown Prince's residence, his life and death would be beyond his control. How could Lu Ming go there? Nonsense, why would the Crown Prince need a reason to see you? Hurry up and come with us! Mu Yuan shouted. I have a bad temper. If I don't know what's going on, I won't go even if you beat me to death. If you want to use the power of the Crown Prince's residence to attack me for no reason, then I have nothing to say, Lu Ming said indifferently. He had a stubborn look on his face. He even vaguely pointed out that the Crown Prince's residence shouldn't bully others. You! Lu Quan and Mu Yuan were trembling with anger. In that case, this old man will say it directly. When you entered the Broken Universe, you killed 36 peak Divine King experts of the Crown Prince's residence. This is a heinous crime. You must be punished. Come with this old man to the Crown Prince's residence, and receive your punishment. Han Fengyi said coldly. As soon as these words came out, many people were shocked. This time, 36 peak Divine Kings of the Crown Prince's residence had died in the Broken Universe. This was definitely a huge loss. No wonder the Crown Prince's residence came to arrest them. Ha ha ha, so it's because of this matter. I'm sorry, this matter has nothing to do with me. You can go back now. Lu Ming laughed. It has nothing to do with you. Nonsense. You're the one who killed them. Lu Quan shouted angrily. I killed them? Lu Quan, you must have evidence before you speak. Let me ask you, did I kill your people or did the people I brought kill them? Lu Ming questioned loudly. Although you didn't kill them, they died because of you. Lu Quan said angrily. Died because of us? Haha, did we set up a formation to kill you? Or what? From the beginning to the end, we didn't even lift a finger. Your people were killed by the monsters in the Broken Universe. What does it have to do with me? Lu Ming said loudly. You're lying. Those monsters were lured here by you. You deliberately lured them to us. Lu Quan roared with an ugly expression. Ha ha ha, ridiculous, ridiculous. I lured them here. What a joke! Lu Ming laughed and said, when we first met, you brought a group of people to surround me and wanted to kill me. Then, you were inexplicably attacked by the monsters. How can you blame this on me? Ridiculous, you. Lu Quan and Mu Yuan's faces flushed red. They didn't know how to answer him. The situation at that time was indeed as Lu Ming said. They were the ones who wanted to kill Lu Ming. When they first saw Lu Ming, they brought people to surround Lu Ming and his group. That was why they were besieged. We stood there and didn't move. You rushed up to kill me. You were unlucky to be surrounded by the monsters. You want to blame this on me? Ha ha, then I have nothing to say. Lu Ming said indifferently. Lu Quan and Mu Yuan almost vomited blood. Han Fengye's face was also gloomy. He said coldly, "You have a glib tongue. Who knows if what you said is true or false? If you have anything to say, say it in the Crown Prince's palace." Boom! As soon as his voice fell, Han Fengye didn't talk nonsense and directly attacked. With a wave of his hand, a huge claw grabbed at Lu Ming. The claw grabbed the light shield formed by the formation, causing a violent fluctuation. The whole palace shook violently. The formation of the palace was extremely mysterious. However, Han Fengye's strength was too strong and unfathomable. This formation might not be able to stop him. Lu Ming's face turned gloomy. He didn't expect the Crown Prince's palace to be so overbearing. They didn't even bother to argue with him. "Open!" Han Fengye shouted coldly as he continued to activate his strength. The formation shook continuously. If this continued, it wouldn't be long before the formation was broken. In the void far away, there were many experts from the Great Void Imperial family watching. However, since the Crown Prince's palace was involved, they couldn't interfere. In the Great Void Imperial family, not many people dared to offend the Crown Prince. Just as the formation was shaking more and more violently, a ray of divine light flew over from the distance and struck the hand that Han Fengye had condensed. With a boom, the hand that Han Fengye had condensed was directly destroyed. "Who is it? How dare you?" Han Fengye shouted coldly as killing intent flashed in his eyes. Someone actually dared to stop him. Did they not want to live anymore? However, in the next moment, his pupils shrank and he revealed a look of fear. In the distance, a group of people was approaching. The man in the lead had a dignified appearance. He was the second prince. "Han Fengye, I think you're the one with the guts," the second prince said coldly. Han Fengye's face turned ugly. In the Taishu dynasty, the second prince was one of the few who dared to go against the crown prince. He also had the ability to do so. Chapter 33-31. "Second Prince, what do you mean by that?" Han Fengye asked with an ugly expression. "What do I mean? This is the holy courtyard of the Great Void Imperial family. How dare you come here to arrest someone? Who gave you the courage? Is it my elder brother?" the second prince said indifferently. "Second Prince, this man has killed dozens of experts from the Crown Prince's residence. He has committed a heinous crime. I'm taking him back to the Crown Prince's residence for investigation," Han Fengye said. "I've said it before. I didn't kill the people from the Crown Prince's residence. It has nothing to do with me. If the Crown Prince's residence wants to convict me, I have nothing to say." Lu Ming interrupted. "Shut up, brat," Han Fengye shouted coldly. Hee, can't you even defend yourself? Could it be that the Crown Prince's residence really is able to cover the sky with one hand, and has even greater authority than the Sage Emperor?" Lu Ming sneered. He knew the relationship between the second prince and the Crown Prince. That was why he said that in front of the second prince. "You!" Han Fengye's expression changed drastically. The Crown Prince wouldn't care if he said that in front of other people. However, it would be a big deal if he said that in front of the second prince. The second prince would use it to attack the Crown Prince. "I have a rough idea of what happened. However, Lu Ming, why don't you tell me in detail what happened?" the second prince said. "Okay." Lu Ming nodded and immediately told the second prince about what happened in the broken universe. Of course, he wouldn't say that the heavenly human tribe was chasing after him. He only said that he didn't know that they were nearby. "Oh, so Lu Quan and Mu Yuan wanted to kill you, but they were unlucky. So many experts were killed by the monsters," the second prince said. "Yes, that's right. I was lucky and they were unlucky. How can you blame me for that? I'm speechless." Lu Ming gave a long sigh, looking as if he had been greatly wrong. You're talking nonsense. You must have known that the monsters were around. I guess those monsters wanted to kill you. You deliberately killed us," Lu Quan shouted. "Evidence? Where's the evidence?" You need evidence, Lu Ming said indifferently. Lu Quan and Mu Yuan were about to vomit blood. How could they have any evidence? Let's take a step back and assume that I already knew about those monsters, but at that time, you were the ones who wanted to kill me. What you're saying is that all of you wanted to kill me, and I should have warned you that there were monsters here and not come over, right? Lu Ming spoke nonchalantly, his tone full of sarcasm. Lu Quan and Mu Yuan trembled with anger. However, they could not refute Lu Ming's words. Tell Big Brother. The second prince waved his hand. However, he didn't have any evidence, so he could only retreat. Otherwise, the second prince would be able to use it against the crown prince. He did not expect that the second prince would suddenly appear. If not for the second prince, he could not be bothered with what Lu Ming said. He would just capture him directly. Farewell, Han Fengyi said coldly. In the end, he took Lu Quan and Mu Yuan and left with their tails between their legs. Lu Ming thanks second prince for your help. Lu Ming stepped out and clasped his fists at the second prince. You're welcome. I heard someone reporting and rushed over. It's good that you're fine. The second prince smiled. It was very gentle and gave people the feeling of a spring breeze. Lu Ming knew that the second prince was trying to win people's hearts. Obviously, the second prince had taken a fancy to Lu Ming's talent. No matter what, I still have to thank second prince for your help, Lu Ming said. Haha, if you really want to thank me, you can come to my place more often. Who knows, I might need your help in the future. The second prince smiled. Lu Ming will definitely return today's favor to second prince, Lu Ming said in a tone that was neither humble nor overbearing. Rumble. Just at this moment, a loud rumbling sound came from afar. A terrifying aura spread out from afar, as if a giant beast was charging over. The entire place fell into a heavy silence. How terrifying! Many people turned pale and trembled. They almost knelt down. The aura was too terrifying. It was unimaginably powerful. The entire Taishu Imperial Sacred Courtyard was shrouded in it. Even the second prince's face turned solemn as he looked in that direction. In the next moment, a figure appeared in that direction. The state preceptor. Many people were shocked. That figure was the state preceptor. The aura came from the state preceptor. Many people were relieved. The state preceptor was the pinnacle of the Taishu dynasty. It was normal for him to have such a terrifying aura. However, why did the state preceptor suddenly come to the Taishu Imperial Sacred Courtyard with a strong murderous intent? Many people were puzzled. This guy. Lu Ming's pupils shrank. He had a feeling that the state preceptor was coming for him. As expected, the state preceptor saw Lu Ming as soon as he arrived. His eyes were filled with murderous intent. However, when he saw the second prince beside Lu Ming, his pupils shrank. He was surprised that the second prince was here. The state preceptor was very fast. In the next moment, he was in front of them. State preceptor, what are you doing? You are the state preceptor. How can you rush into the Taishu Imperial Sacred Courtyard with murderous intent? The second prince said coldly. Second prince, I'm here to avenge my son, Wu Fan, the state preceptor said. His face was ferocious and filled with murderous intent. These words caused the hearts of the people present to tremble even more. What? Wu Fan is dead? How is that possible? I heard that Wu Fan entered the broken universe but didn't come out. Not only that, no one from the state preceptor's residence came out. How could such a thing happen? Who is so bold as to kill Wu Fan? The scene was in an uproar. The second prince's eyes also moved. He was surprised and asked, State preceptor, who killed Wu Fan? It's him, Lu Ming. The state preceptor looked at Lu Ming. His eyes were filled with murderous intent. It's him again. Many people were tongue-tied and they looked at Lu Ming in unison. First, it was the people from the crown prince's residence. Now, it was the state preceptor. What did Lu Ming do in the broken universe? I didn't kill Wu Fan. Lu Ming answered calmly. If it's not you, then who is it? The state preceptor said. State Preceptor, you said that I killed Wu Fan. Do you have evidence, witnesses, or material evidence? Lu Ming said. He had already taken care of this matter. No one would know that he killed Wu Fan. The State Preceptor was completely guessing. There's no need for evidence. You killed him. How dare you kill my son? You must die. The State Preceptor roared. His murderous intent was extremely strong. The higher the cultivation, the harder it was to have children. With the State Preceptor's cultivation, it was rare for him to have Wu Fan. Now that Wu Fan was killed, he was going crazy. Chapter 33-32. You don't have any evidence, and yet you say that I killed him. The Grand Preceptor is indeed powerful and can convict people as he pleases. Lu Ming shouted coldly. Whether you killed him or not, we will know once we take you down and search your soul. The Grand Preceptor's voice was cold. He took a step forward and his overwhelming aura pressed down on Lu Ming. At this moment, an old man beside the second prince stepped forward and shouted. He released a powerful aura to resist the Grand Preceptor's aura. Terrifying explosions sounded. The old man beside the second prince trembled violently and retreated continuously. He was obviously no match for the Grand Preceptor. Second Prince, this man killed my son, Wu Fan. He must die. Don't force me to fight with you. The Grand Preceptor's hair and beard fluttered. He was extremely violent, and had truly gone mad. Although he didn't have any evidence, he was 80% sure that Wu Fan was killed by Lu Ming. This was because he knew that Wu Fan wanted to kill Lu Ming in the Broken Universe. Now that Lu Ming was alive and well, Wu Fan was dead. If it wasn't Lu Ming who killed him, who else could it be? The second prince frowned. The Grand Preceptor's current state was extremely unstable. If he interfered, the Grand Preceptor might really fight with him. Although he valued Lu Ming and wanted to rope in Lu Ming, it was obviously not worth it to fight the Grand Preceptor head-on because of Lu Ming. The second prince gave his subordinates a look, and they retreated silently. Little bastard, die! The Grand Preceptor stared at Lu Ming with bloodshot eyes. He roared and charged towards Lu Ming. Damn it! Lu Ming roared in his heart. He had underestimated the overbearingness of the upper echelons of the Taishu dynasty. He didn't expect them to want to kill him without any evidence. In the face of such a person, he didn't have the strength to fight back. His body couldn't move at all. Young master! Autumn Moon cried out in alarm. She was incomparably anxious. She wanted to help, but her body could not move. It was simply impossible. When it seemed like Lu Ming was about to die at the hands of the State Preceptor, the space before Lu Ming suddenly fluctuated, and then a white-haired old man suddenly appeared. The old man waved his hand, and a divine light burst forth, breaking the Imperial Advisor's attack. Lu Ming's body became light, and he immediately regained his freedom. Old Heavenly King! Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. This figure that suddenly appeared was Thousand Saint Old Heavenly King. It's Old Heavenly King Qianxing! The others also exclaimed in surprise. The Imperial Master's face hardened. He stared at Holy Thousand Heavenly King and said, Holy Thousand Heavenly King, this has nothing to do with you. I find this little fellow pleasing to the eye. How is it none of my business? Thousand Saint Old Heavenly King said indifferently. He killed my son, Wu Fan. No matter who he is, he must die. The Imperial Preceptor roared with a violent aura. If you want to condemn someone, you can always find a pretext. You just want to find someone to accompany Wu Fan to the grave. Lu Ming shouted. Whether you killed him or not, I will know after I search your soul. The Imperial Preceptor said coldly. Without wasting any time, he charged towards Lu Ming. A terrifying attack erupted, and the entire Great Void Imperial family holy courtyard shook continuously, as if it was about to explode. Not only that, the aura spread out and filled the entire Great Void Imperial City. Countless experts in the Great Void Imperial City felt as if there was a huge rock pressing down on them. This old man hasn't fought for a long time. Today, I will see what the State Preceptor is capable of. The Old Heavenly King said as he stepped out, and a terrifying aura rushed out from his body. The aura of the two continued to clash, and the pressure on the scene became even more terrifying. Activate the array! A loud shout came from the Great Void Imperial Family Holy Courtyard. The experts of the Great Void Imperial Family Holy Courtyard were alarmed. Many terrifying experts appeared and activated the array. Countless runes appeared in the Great Void Imperial Family Holy Courtyard, and the entire Great Void Imperial Family Holy Courtyard was shrouded in it. They were afraid that the two terrifying existences would destroy the Great Void Imperial Family Holy Courtyard. Swoosh! Swoosh! Suddenly, the Imperial Preceptor and the old Heavenly King shot up into the sky and into the starry sky of the universe, and a huge battle broke out. Although the Imperial Preceptor was furious, he had not lost his mind. With their cultivation, if they were to fight in the Great Void Imperial City, it would be devastating. He would not be able to bear the consequences. Therefore, they rushed into the starry sky to fight. Boom! In the starry sky, there was a terrifying explosion, and a heavy pressure pressed down on everyone in the Great Void Imperial City. Then, in the starry sky, it was as if a planet had exploded, and a bright light shone. Boom! 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 Then, more and more bright lights appeared, and it was as if many planets had exploded in the sky, filling the starry sky. This was the battle between the Imperial Preceptor and the old Heavenly King. It was terrifying. Lu Ming raised his head, but he could not see the trajectory of the battle at all. He could only see bright lights shining one after another. Only a few people could see the trajectory of the battle, such as the second prince, an old man beside him, and some elders of the Great Void Imperial Family Holy Courtyard. There were also some terrifying experts who were cultivating in seclusion in the Great Void Imperial City. These people raised their heads to watch, and their faces were solemn. A battle of this level was not something that could be easily seen. In the starry sky, the entire starry sky was trembling like water waves. The planets further away were swept by the terrifying shockwaves and exploded. The two of them fought for a long time, and the starry sky suddenly quietened down. In the next moment, a figure appeared in front of Lu Ming. It was the old Heavenly King. Lu Ming quickly looked over and saw that the old Heavenly King's face was ruddy, and his aura was stable. He was fine. In the next moment, the Imperial Preceptor's figure appeared not far away. However, the Imperial Preceptor's condition was much worse. His face was pale, and his body was trembling slightly. There was a trace of blood at the corner of his mouth. It was obvious that the Imperial Preceptor had lost. He was no match for the old Heavenly King. Please go back. The old Heavenly King waved his hand. The revenge of my son's death is irreconcilable, the Imperial Preceptor said coldly. He was still filled with killing intent and did not want to let Lu Ming go. I've said that I didn't kill Wu Fan. If you have evidence, take it out. Otherwise, I'll report you to the Sacred Emperor for abusing your power for personal gain, abusing your authority, and bullying the weak, Lu Ming shouted. He was also angry. I'll search your soul and you'll know. The Imperial Preceptor still wanted to search his soul. What the F***CK? You want to search the soul of whoever you suspect? If I suspect that you've emptied the treasury and colluded with the barbarian race, I'll search your soul too. Are you willing to do that? Lu Ming shouted. How dare you slander me? The Imperial Preceptor was furious. He wanted to slap Lu Ming to death. Of course, he couldn't do it with the old Heavenly King around. I think Lu Ming is right. If you want to search his soul without evidence, he can search yours. Why don't you two exchange? I have no objections, the old Heavenly King said. You! The Imperial Preceptor's eyes flashed fiercely. However, he definitely couldn't let his soul be searched. He was the only one who knew how many evil deeds he had committed in secret to get to where he was now. Wouldn't everything be exposed if his soul was searched? Dragon Emperor Wan Dao, Dragon Emperor Wan Dao. Chapter 33-33. The Imperial Tutor's face darkened. He knew that with Holy Old Heavenly King here, it would be hard to touch Lu Ming. Moreover, after the battle with Holy Old Heavenly King, the Imperial Tutor had calmed down. Previously, when he heard that Wu Fan had not come out, he took out Wu Fan's life spirit token and found out that Wu Fan had died. He was instantly enraged and lost his head in anger. Actually, with his status as the Imperial Tutor, it was extremely unwise for him to barge into the Great Void Imperial family's holy court to kill a genius disciple. Because in the broken universe, killing each other was a common thing. Even if Wu Fan was killed by Lu Ming, it would be normal. He could only blame himself for not being skilled enough. Moreover, he did not have evidence to prove that Wu Fan was killed by Lu Ming. It was purely a guess. In this case, his opponents would definitely use this matter to attack him and impeach him in front of the Saint Emperor. Moreover, the second prince was present at the scene. The impeachment was definitely going to happen. As the Imperial Tutor, he had barged into the Great Void Imperial family's holy court like a mad wild beast. He wanted to kill someone without any evidence in front of countless people. This was a huge taboo. If the upper echelons of the Taishu dynasty did this, who would dare to work for the Taishu dynasty? After the Imperial Tutor calmed down and thought of the consequences, he finally wanted to retreat. Lu Ming, did my son, Wu Fan, die in your hands? I will investigate this matter sooner or later. Let's wait and see. The Imperial Tutor said coldly, and then slowly retreated. State Preceptor, I will personally meet with His Majesty the Sage Emperor regarding this matter. I would like to ask His Majesty the Sage Emperor if he is the State Preceptor, can he do as he pleases? Holy Old Heavenly King said. The Imperial Tutor's face darkened. He snorted and retreated. Lu Ming secretly heaved a sigh of relief. This time, it was really dangerous. If not for Holy Old Heavenly King, he would really be in danger. He would have been crushed to death by the Imperial Tutor. Lu Ming, thank you again, Holy Old Heavenly King. Lu Ming cupped his fists and thanked Holy Old Heavenly King solemnly. Holy Old Heavenly King had already helped him twice, so he was extremely grateful to him. Lu Ming, I will immediately meet with His Majesty the Sage Emperor and impeach the Imperial Preceptor. After this incident, the Imperial Preceptor probably won't dare to personally deal with you, but he definitely won't give up. He will secretly send people to deal with you. You must be careful. Old Heavenly King Thousand Saints warned. Thank you, Senior. Lu Ming will be careful. Lu Ming nodded. Second Prince, why don't you accompany me to the Imperial Palace? Then, Thousand Saints Old Heavenly King looked at the Second Prince. How could I not accept the invitation of the Old Heavenly King? Old Heavenly King, please. The Second Prince smiled. The State Preceptor was the Crown Prince's right-hand man. Impeaching the State Preceptor and attacking him was exactly what he wanted. How could he not go? Furthermore, with Old Heavenly King Thousand Saints with him, he couldn't wait. Holy Old Heavenly King and Second Prince immediately left for the Imperial Palace. Young Master, are you all right? Autumn Moon flew over and looked at Lu Ming worriedly. I'm fine. Let's leave this place first, Lu Ming said. Now that he had the primordial deity statue, he didn't want to stay in the Taishu Imperial Sacred Academy. After today's incident, he understood that it was usually very safe to stay in the Taishu Imperial family's sacred courtyard. However, the Taishu Imperial family's sacred courtyard wouldn't give him any protection when facing the top figures of the Taishu sacred dynasty. It was better to stay in Blue Merchant's residence. At least there were elites of the Dark Ape fighting tribe there. If he encountered danger, the elites of the Dark Ape fighting tribe would definitely fight to the death. Moreover, now that he could start his own family, he wanted to ask Blue Merchant about the specific plan of starting his family. Lu Ming and Autumn Moon immediately left the Taishu Imperial Sacred Academy and returned to Blue Merchant's residence. After returning, Lu Ming went to Blue Merchant to ask about the matter of starting a family and how to choose the location. Choosing the location of the family was also very important. It would affect the future development. Of course, we have to choose a place with potential, Blue Merchant said. Then, he took out a jade talisman. The jade talisman glowed, and a starry sky pattern appeared in the air. The pattern was densely packed with tiny dots of light. Those dots of light were the famous planets of life. They were very small. If Lu Ming's eyes were sharp, most people wouldn't be able to see them. Many light spots formed galaxies. Hundreds and thousands of galaxies then formed star fields. This is the map of the Taishu dynasty's territory, Blue Merchant said. Sure enough, Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. The Taishu dynasty's territory was really vast. The Taishu dynasty's territory is mainly divided into two parts. The most central part is controlled by the Taishu dynasty's royal family. It's the largest part. Blue Merchant reached out his hand and drew a circle in the air. A circle of light circled the center of the territory. The center of the circle took up about half of the entire map. These were all the territories controlled by the Taishu dynasty's royal family. Other than the central region, the surrounding regions are the territories of the various mansions of the Taishu Holy Dynasty. The residence of the soldiers, residence of the general, residence of the marquis, residence of the heavenly kings, residence of the great and small mansions occupy the outer regions. Moreover, the various major families have been fighting and killing each other. The Taishu Holy Dynasty has always turned a blind eye to this. Now, the outer regions have been taken over by the various major families. It will be difficult to establish a family here and develop quickly, Blue Merchant said. Then where should we choose? Lu Ming asked. Here. Lan Shan pointed to the west, at the outermost region of the territory. The west side of the Taishu dynasty is close to the barbarian tribe. They have been fighting with the barbarian tribe all year round. This area is the most chaotic, especially the border with the barbarian tribe. There are many star regions that are extremely chaotic. Interstellar pirates run amok, big and small forces fight and kill each other. Neither the Taishu dynasty nor the barbarian tribe can fully control this area. It's the easiest area to establish a family and develop. Furthermore, according to the rules of the Taishu Sacred Court, the first mansion to be established is the lowest level of Soldier's Mansion. If you want to be promoted, you can only earn merits. Killing space pirates and killing barbarians can earn merits. The more merits you earn, the more planets you can control, more territories you can take in, and more experts you can recruit. Blue Merchant said. Okay, we'll choose this area. Lu Ming nodded and made his decision. The more chaotic the place was, the more opportunities there were. Choosing a relatively stable place with a relatively stable force would make it difficult for them to develop. After that, Lu Ming and Blue Merchant continued to discuss the details of establishing a family and family. After a full day of discussion, all the details were put in place. The next day, Lu Ming and Blue Merchant went to the Grand Council. To establish a family and family, one must first be reviewed and supervised by the Grand Council. Lu Ming had the token given by the Sacred Emperor, so he easily passed the review. Myriad Dao Dragon Emperor. Chapter 33-34. After easily passing the review, Lu Ming received a large rest image stone. This rest image stone was used to record one's contributions. For example, when Lu Ming brought people to kill interstellar pirates, he had to use this rest image stone to record it and submit it to the Grand Council. After the review, he would be rewarded accordingly. It was the same for hunting the barbarian tribe. The amount of contributions would be recorded by the rest image stone and could not be faked. After everything was settled, Lu Ming and Blue Merchant returned to their residence. Without any hesitation, they set off with Autumn Moon, Lan Ling, and the elites of the Nether Ape fighting tribe. They set off secretly, and no one else noticed. The distance between the Taishu Sacred Capital and the western frontier was too far. However, the Taishu Sacred Capital was connected by a wormhole. Using the wormhole, they arrived at the western frontier in a short time. Our target is the Heavenly Chaos Starfield, a starfield at the border between the Taishu dynasty and the barbarian tribe. First, we need to find a planet with life to settle down as the foundation of our tribe, Blue Merchant said. He took out a map and looked at it. This was a map of the Heavenly Chaos Starfield. It was very detailed and even marked out the major and minor galaxies, as well as some of the stronger forces. Lu Ming sighed in his heart. Fortunately, he had Blue Merchant's help. Blue Merchant had already made some plans before this. If it were him, he would have been confused. Then, Blue Merchant pointed at one of the planets and zoomed in quickly. This planet is called the Hidden Dragon Planet. It is occupied by a group of interstellar pirates. The environment on this planet is very good and the divine qi is rich. It is a good place for cultivation and is most suitable for the early stage. Lu Ming, what do you think? Blue Merchant asked Lu Ming. Hidden Dragon Planet, what a good name. Let's go with this planet, Lu Ming said with a smile. All right, let's go, Blue Merchant said. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, they turned into streaks of light and flew toward the Heaven Chaos starfield. Lan Ling's cultivation was the weakest in the group, so she was carried by Blue Merchant. The others flew toward the Heaven Chaos starfield at an astonishing speed. After flying past many planets, more than 10 days later, a huge planet appeared in front of Lu Ming and the rest. This planet was the Hidden Dragon Star. It's a pity that such a good planet was taken over by a bunch of interstellar pirates. From now on, you'll be famous in the hands of Lu Ming. Lu Ming smiled. He took the lead and flew toward the Hidden Dragon Star. Blue Merchant and the others followed closely behind. Who are you? Stop! At this moment, a loud shout rang out, and a group of people appeared, blocking Lu Ming's path. This group of people all had ferocious faces, and they were divided into 7 or 8 different races. They all stared at Lu Ming and the others with murderous intent. Who are you? Why are you sneaking around the Hidden Dragon Star? One of the brawny men holding a large saber said. He stared at Lu Ming with murderous intent and waved his saber. Who are we? It doesn't matter if I tell you. We're from the Taishu dynasty. We're here to annihilate you, Lu Ming said with a smile. What? The brawny man in the black robe and the others obviously didn't expect Lu Ming to tell them his purpose directly. They were stunned for a moment, then they roared. The Taishu dynasty is here. Send a message to the commander. Immediately, someone took out a jade talisman and began to send a message. Someone else took out a jade talisman to send a signal to inform the other interstellar pirates. Suddenly, the entire Hidden Dragon Star began to move. Huge interstellar battleships flew out and rushed toward them. Lu Ming and the others didn't move at all. They just watched the other party send a message. It would be easier to solve the problem if the other party sent a message together. All right, I can take care of you now, Lu Ming said indifferently. Then, a huge breathing shadow stone flew out and floated above Lu Ming's head. These interstellar pirates were also meritorious. Of course, he had to record them. He couldn't let them go to waste. Then, Lu Ming stepped forward and walked forward. Kid, you're courting death. Brothers, kill them! The brawny man in the lead shouted angrily. He waved his large saber and charged toward Lu Ming. This brawny man was in the 4th layer of the King God realm. He wasn't weak. The other interstellar pirates were in the 1st layer of the King God realm to the 4th layer of the King God realm. The weakest one was a half-step King God realm. Bang! Lu Ming took a step forward. The void shook violently. Then, dragon roars resounded in the sky. In an instant, dozens of 9-clawed dragons flew out and pounced on the interstellar pirates. Oh no! The brawny man in the lead turned pale. He turned around and wanted to escape, but it was too late. A 9-clawed dragon caught up with him. The dragon claw tore the brawny man into pieces and he died on the spot. The other interstellar pirates were even weaker. They couldn't resist and were killed one by one. Go! Kill them! Lu Ming said. They pounced toward the Hidden Dragon Star. Bastards of the Taishu dynasty, how dare you make trouble on the Hidden Dragon Star? Kill them all! There were at least a dozen huge interstellar battleships. Each of them was 1,000 miles long. They were incomparably huge. They crashed toward Lu Ming and the others. A loud roar came from the middle battleship. Good timing. Leave the middle battleship to me. You can do whatever you want with the rest, Lu Ming said to the Nether Ape battle tribe. After that, Lu Ming rushed toward the middle battleship. He used the heavenly demon golden body and punched it. Kill him! A loud roar came from the battleship. Then, runes appeared on the battleship. Following that, a beam of light flew out from the front of the battleship and blasted toward Lu Ming. This kind of interstellar battleship not only had the ability to fly quickly and carry people, but it could also launch attacks. It was very powerful. Lu Ming punched the beam of light. The beam of light could not withstand a single blow from Lu Ming and was shattered. Boom! In the end, Lu Ming punched the front of the battleship. The entire battleship shook violently and kept exploding. Debris flew everywhere. The front of the battleship exploded. Then, the terrifying force of the punch spread to the entire battleship. Cracks appeared on the battleship. In the end, the entire battleship disintegrated. The scene of a 1,000-mile-long battleship exploding with a punch was extremely shocking. The battleship shattered, and a few thousand people flew out of it. Oh no, retreat! Someone shouted. To be able to destroy a 1,000-mile-long battleship with a punch, this kind of strength was too terrifying. He was at least in the 8th layer of the King God realm. He was not someone they could deal with. They knew that the people who came this time were too strong. You want to leave? Kill them all. Don't leave a single one alive, Lu Ming said coldly. Before he came, he had already done his research. He knew that these interstellar pirates were scum. They would commit all kinds of crimes and their methods were ruthless. They would often exterminate entire families. Every one of them was a vicious person. Their hands were stained with blood. They were all people who deserved to be killed. Lu Ming would not show mercy to these people. Myriad Dao Dragon Emperor. Chapter 33-35. Kill! The elites of the Nether Ape battle tribe charged forward. Of course, Yuan Tsong and the other divine lords did not attack as they did not need to. This group of interstellar pirates was considered a small group of pirates in the heavenly chaos starfield. The strongest of them was only in the 6th heaven of the Divine King realm. There was no need for the divine lords to attack. Any of the Nether Ape battle tribe members could easily take care of them. Kill! Some of the Nether Ape battle tribe members charged forward. This was a battle without any suspense. Soon, almost all of the interstellar pirates were killed. Lu Ming recorded everything with the rest Shadow Stone. After that, the elites of the Nether Ape battle tribe searched the entire planet and killed all of the interstellar pirates. After that, they chose a better location and started to build a city. Building a city with their cultivation was like using a sledgehammer to crack a nut. Soon, a huge city rose from the ground and appeared between the heavens and earth. After the city was built, blue merchants started to set up arrays around the city. There were all kinds of defensive and offensive arrays. In the future, this would be their base. Naturally, they had to set it up properly. After a few months, the city looked brand new. It was complete. Lu Ming and the others entered the city. After that, blue merchants started to set up the planet formation all over the planet. This was a huge project that could not be completed in a short period of time. Lu Ming started to think about the development of the city. Now that they had conquered a planet and had a foothold, they could officially establish the military residence. However, first, they had to report it to the Grand Council. Then, they could officially establish the residence and recruit elites to join them. After that, Lu Ming sent an elite of the Nether Ape battle tribe to report back to the Great Illusionary Saint Capital with the order to establish the residence. In less than a month, the Nether Ape battle tribe member returned. Everything was done. However, Lu Ming did not have any plans to recruit anyone for the time being. He would wait until things settled down. Lu Ming was thinking about how to accumulate more merits to raise the rank of the military residence. However, even if the soldiers' mansion started to recruit people, there wouldn't be many experts who would join them. Recruiting people with low cultivation wouldn't be of much use. Blue Merchant also suggested that they wait for a while before recruiting. This was because Blue Merchant planned to set up a large formation. This great formation was specially used to recruit people, and it could test one's heart. If there were any dishonest people or people with ulterior motives who entered the formation, they would be able to detect them. Lu Ming had many enemies. If he were to recruit people, there was no guarantee that his enemies would not send people to sneak in. Therefore, this kind of grand formation was extremely important. For the time being, Lu Ming planned to eliminate some interstellar pirates nearby to accumulate merits. Right now, the Heaven Chaos Starfield was in chaos. They were mainly divided into several camps. One of them was the interstellar pirates. There were many interstellar pirates of all sizes. The other one was from the Taishu dynasty. Lu Ming was not the only one who chose to establish a clan here. There were also students from the previous batch of the Sacred Academy of the Taishu dynasty. There were also some who had developed for a long time. The third force was the barbarian race. The barbarian race, the Taishu dynasty, and the interstellar pirates were attacking each other. It could be said that it was a mess. More importantly, the various clans of the Taishu dynasty were also in a competitive relationship. It was common for them to attack each other and kill each other. Lu Ming made a plan. Then, he left the Hidden Dragon Star with some Nether Ape fighting clan members and headed west. Not far from them, there was a group of strong interstellar pirates gathered. This group of interstellar pirates was much stronger than the group that Lu Ming and the others had eliminated. If they were eliminated, they would get a lot of merits. A few days later, Lu Ming and the others arrived near a galaxy. Looking from afar, there were many huge interstellar battleships flying and patrolling near this galaxy. The whole galaxy was like an iron bucket built by this group of interstellar pirates. Boom! Suddenly, there was a violent explosion in another direction. Lu Ming and the others were slightly stunned. They had not made a move yet. Why was there a movement in that direction? In the next moment, Lu Ming understood that there was an attack in that direction. Could it be people from other clans? Lu Ming thought. There were many clans of the Taishu dynasty in the Heavenly Chaos Galaxy. Naturally, there were also people who were targeting these interstellar pirates and wanted to eliminate them to gain merits. Someone is attacking! Suddenly, one of the interstellar pirates shouted. The news quickly spread to the core of the galaxy. In a few minutes, there were beams of light flying over from the core of the galaxy. They were all powerful interstellar pirates. They were all heading in that direction. Let's go in too! Lu Ming instructed the Nether Ape fighting clan members that he had brought along. They set off, spreading their bodies and dashing in this direction. This place is still. They had just reached the periphery of the galaxy when the patrolling pirates noticed them. Just as they were about to shout, a Nether Ape fighting clan member stepped out and threw a punch. This Nether Ape fighting clan member was a divine lord that Lu Ming had brought along. He was extremely powerful. His fist rapidly grew in size until it covered an area of the starry sky. A huge explosion occurred in the void. Rumble! The interstellar pirates in front of them, including the patrolling battleships, exploded and turned into dust. They did not even have time to spread the news. Let's go in! Lu Ming and the others rushed in and went straight to the core of the galaxy. In the core of the galaxy, there was a planet that was relatively close to the central star. Needless to say, this was the nest of the interstellar pirates. Lu Ming and the others rushed in and killed their way to the core of the galaxy. After rushing there, they did not stop at all. The Nether Ape fighting clan members killed their way down. Whenever they saw a pirate, they would not show any mercy and would attack mercilessly. As for Lu Ming, he held the breathing shadow stone high and recorded everything. Enemy attack! The elites on the planet had noticed Lu Ming and the others. Countless figures rushed out from various buildings. However, as soon as they rushed out, they were attacked by the Nether Ape fighting clan members and were killed mercilessly. You bastards of the Taishu dynasty, you are courting death! Suddenly, a furious roar was heard. A terrifying aura rushed out from the depths of the planet. A peak divine king! There is a peak divine king among this group of interstellar pirates. Lu Ming was slightly taken aback. This was somewhat beyond his expectations. In the next moment, a burly figure rushed out. It was a ferocious Bear Clan member. He was burly and held a battle axe in his hand. His eyes were cold. He was the leader of this group of interstellar pirates, a peak divine king. Die! The leader of the ferocious Bear Clan shouted and swung his battle axe. You are the one who will die! The divine Lord Nether Ape Fighting Clan member attacked with a punch. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.